Hello, welcome. Good to be back, everybody. MIRRORMOURN, oh MIRRORMOURN, you have not left our thoughts or our hearts. We've been wanting to play this for some time. Life has been life, but we're going to make this work today. So, it's been a couple months. Warsor has done a nice little recap write-up. I'll probably read that or maybe paraphrase it, and then we'll get back into the role playing. Why don't you all introduce your characters as usual in reverse alphabetical order?
Hello everyone, it's been quite some time, but I am Warsor and I play Walykos, the level 9 half-elf ranger.
I'm
Hello?
Vince.
Oh, that's right.
It's my turn. bad
We're
note.
rusty. We're out of form.
Before I was interrupted, my name is Vince, and I will be playing Vapor, the wild magic sorcerer.
It was the wild magic that did it. Sorry. I'm Nick. I'm playing Nokki, the level 9 barbarian / fighter, and I'm a Goliath.
And I'm Adam, and I remember I go last, and I'm playing Aygir, the Armorer Artificer.
And I'm Esper, and as usual, I will be game mastering this session of MIRRORMOURN, episode 56. We're at now, the Clouded Coast. It's almost surreal to think that you all are so far away now from Barnacle, and you're on the complete other side of the nation of Haven Isle. So I'm going to do this quick recap here, and again, thanks to Warsor for this. Last episode, the characters got everything that they could sorted out in Barnacle, and they discussed the special painting that has teleportation properties. Particularly, they might use that to come back to Barnacle quickly once they're done with their affairs on the western side of the island nation, the Cloud Steppe, and the actual coast be the Clouded Coast. You all have been traveling by kite sails, large wing membraned reptiles that you've made usage of before, and they're pretty quick. So using those, and from time to time you'll stop to feed and water them and such, but that gets you some overland travel quite quickly. Vapor did speak some of his grandfather. He's made mention of his grandfather a number of times, and his grandfather is no mere mortal, but rather a genie, a type of air genie, who is the lord of a palace out in this Cloud Steppe region nearing to the coast. There were complications in Vapor and his grandfather's relationship in the background. Particularly, it came to be that his grandfather was attempting to utilize Vapor, his magic in particular. Really, this began once it became obvious that Vapor had some innate sorceress power in his blood, and that shifted the grandfather's attitude, and he clearly had some kind of motive of wanting to utilize Vapor for his own purposes. We're going to get into that further as the episode goes on. Nokki as well spoke some of his past, of his wife, and of his daughter. He and his wife also had a very rocky relationship. They have not spoken for some time. These are Goliath mountain folk, half giants as you would call them in this world, from this northern isle of the island nation of Haven Isle. His daughter is currently at a academy of mystical arts in the city of Plethoris in the Mushroom Forest. Nokki has a sense that he needs to make amends for what he has done in his past, not only with familial problems, but ways in which he has taken advantage of those that were less physically imposing, less physically strong, weaker people. And so this is a sort of penance that he is applying, and he hopes to make atonement. And if he can win glory and wealth in doing so with this current fight against the giants, all the better. Okay, so you all flew out to the Cloud Steppe, a cooler, more arid region of the western region, and this is like bordering with orc lands, and you actually came across a village, a hobgoblin village, really, called Dung Heap, and it had been sacked by orcs, and it seemed that they had left no survivors. It also seemed that the majority of the warriors from Dung Heap had actually left the village before the orcs attacked, probably to join in this war effort. The orcs are allied with the giants, and the orcs are marauding across the western regions of Haven Isle. And so there's to put it in simplified terms, a goblinoid versus orc conflict that is part and parcel with the elves versus giant conflict in Barnacle, or soon to be Barnacle, that will threatens to kind of spill over into the whole nation. This was not Aygir's own clan. It was not his village. He knew of them, but he didn't really have any ties with them, so he didn't have any major lamenting, though of course he would see this as, the doings of the enemy that we need to fight against. One final note is that in picking over the remains of this razed and sacked village, you found a single claw. Not a beast's per se claw. Something different.
Like a beast person of some kind. You said
Could
last
be,
time, I think,
yes.
right?
But
Okay.
certainly not just an animal. It was not
It had
just
more
a
of a-
regular mundane beast.
Had more of a finger shape to the claw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. So here we find ourselves then in the Cloud Steppe on a gray, chilly, breezy day with this kind of nasty stink of carrion and charred remnants of a village in the air. Vapor, you know that the palace over which your grandfather resides, so this would be your father's father, is not terribly far from here. You should be able to get here by your kite sails within just, say, a day's travel, flying swiftly. It is known as the Palace of Mistral and Smoke, over which presides your grandfather, Lord Ezrabat. Take it away, guys.
What was it called again? One more time, Esper.
The Palace of Mistral and Smoke.
And
Lord
that
Ezrabat is your
where-
grandfather.
And that's where we're headed, right? So
Yeah. Would you like me to put
I-
those names either in our Discord or our Zoom chat?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, either one would work.
May
I'll
I
put it
ask
in
a
our
quick
Discord.
question? Did you say this is like the morning after we found the village, or what sort of?
We're
time
just
frame are we
basically
in?
just picking up right after where we left off. So it's
I know it was
still early in the
evening was
day.
falling. Actually, it was evening when we found the
So
village.
yeah, we'll say following morning. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to clarify that. So we'll be flying in during the early morning. Okay. Walykos is going to let Vapor take the lead. He knows these lands. So he'll just guide his kite sail and, make sure they're all flying in formation.
Yeah. Vapor looks to the sky and goes, "Oh, we have another day's flight to the palace. Let's make quick work of this.
I think that we should just continue on. Yeah.
Yep.
To the Palace of the Jinni.
No more stops for villages. Unfortunately, as important as it is to stop the orcs, I don't think we'll learn much more either.
Oh, I know what I need to know. This place knows the risks. It's close to the border.
I put up the telepathic bond right before we take off, and
Mhm.
then we head out.
Okay. You all have the kite sails fed, watered. I don't know if saddle's quite the right word. Harnessed up. I guess you could say saddle and harness. And take wing. Take to the air. And you fly. And you fly swiftly. With the winds, you go. And for a time, the various squawks, chirps, and trills of the kite sails, and just from time to time a shouted word to one another, are the only sounds. These are not flapping creatures. They're not flapping, jerking, bouncing about types of creatures. They sail and they slink, they snake through the air, and these massive wing membranes stretch out from their hind legs all along these long tails they have. And so there's this undulating sense that combines with the rush of the winds across your faces and through your hair. There comes a time around noon. It's a fairly cloudy day, so you just do your best to judge by the lighting, the ambience of it all. You're about to make a landing to rest the animals, to rest yourselves, to eat. And Vapor, who is in the lead, you spot something not far off, maybe 1 mile from where you are, from your vantage point high up in the air. It's unmistakable. A company of orcs. There are many of them. Hundreds of them. Many basic foot soldiers. They're sallow, grayish skins. Their ratty hairs. Their cobbled together, scavenged armors made of skins and hides of all variety, and just maybe here and there a bit of mail or a bit of plate. Their clubs and axes and spears and pikes. Heads, dried and rotted in various states of rancidness, impaled on their pole arms, impaled by the streaming banners that they carry. Heads of goblins, hobgoblins, bugbears, elves. Some little more than skulls. They're on the move. They're heading in an opposite direction. You all are heading in a west by northwest direction. They are heading south by southeast, away from the coast. Many on foot, many foot soldiers, basic grunts. You could devastate these grunt orcs, by scores of them at a time with your magics that you possess. But be wary. If they are to swarm you and fall upon you in great numbers, they would tear you to bits, and you'd be another head on their pike. Some of them are battle leaders, you can tell. Better armor, larger, strange markings, war paintings. And the leaders often are mounted. The orcs are known to have 2 types of mount that they most favor. One is the the great hyenas, the giant hyenas, the dire hyenas, large, grizzled, hyena-type beasts. They're quite big, swift, hearty things. The others, you might even say a more fell type of creature, are known as the Skorok, a type of giant crab. Now, these are not the type of giant crabs that maybe the elves and the halflings would be hunting for along the coast near Barnacle for food. These are nasty things with thick plating, with spiky ridges, with these massive claws that can rend a person's arm right off. Big things, powerful things. They climb. They're not particularly fast, but they're not any slower than the Orc Company. If you land here, you'll be in their path.
So telepathically, Aygir calls out to Walykos, "Can you see what your bird sees?"
Again, if I concentrate, yes.
Like, almost not even waiting for him to finish, says, "We need to climb. Fly up above the clouds. Don't let them see you. We don't fight these. There's too many."
I hadn't planned to engage with them, but yes, that is wise. Let's head up into the clouds, and my familiar, who I call Angel at this time, she will remain within, I think it's just like 100 feet. That's an action. Yeah, I mean, I have telepathic bond on her, so that supersedes the telepathy, but the senses is 100 feet, I believe. It's a little unclear, but I'm just gonna go with the 100. Anyways, yeah, I will let my my kite sail fly in formation, and I will look through her eyes to survey everything as we fly past.
We should be keeping track of numbers. There are those in Barnacle that would want to know, I think.
I'm deaf to you right now, so, but thankfully that's telepathic.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but telepathic, so. Yeah, that's fine. I try and count through
Aygir
numbers.
said to climb above the clouds.
Yeah.
That could get you out of their ability to make out exactly what's up in the sky. You know, they probably noticed you all, but at this distance, it might just look like, kite sails. There are wild kite sails all over Haven Isle. So,
Yep.
You all do that?
Yep.
Okay. So you all rise up, go through the misty low clouds. It gets markedly colder, and your heads get a bit light. But you'll pay the price of some discomfort for the trade-off of the orcs not making a good spotting of who you are. Aygir, you are. This is how it seems to me. It seems natural that Aygir would be the most familiar with orcs. I know you all, as a group, have had some encounters with them, but they've been limited. So, unless someone has something specifically in their backstory, it makes most sense that Aygir, whose people live in conflict with orcs at their borderlands, would have the most
Yeah, I figure so.
common knowledge.
Is this going to be like something that we're investigating? Because I thought we were just flying past.
Just a note.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah.
You don't know
obviously-
orcs as being
Yeah.
a great
Sure.
a great archer people. They're not known for much skill in archery or bowcraft at all. So that is a downside, and hobgoblins, goblinoids have exploited that. The hobgoblins in particular are pretty damn good archers. The orcs are pretty good at throwing things. You don't want to underestimate their javelins and their spears and such, but that does not have the range of flights of arrows. So you don't ever really feel particularly at risk in that terms. You don't think they're going to shoot you out of the sky. Walykos, you send out Angel. What do you tell her?
We don't have to make.
Okay, so you don't do anything elaborate, but you get a rough estimate. There's about 500 orcs in total here. Their mounts are, just maybe a dozen or more of those mounts. So the majority of them are just grunt foot soldiers, just run of the mill, we might say. You all, do you continue your course? Do you change course? Do you go take your rest elsewhere?
I think we continue, right? Like, we don't want to have any chance
It's a pretty open reach that you're in here. There'll be some sort of low, hilly, rolling bits, some scrubby brush, but nothing that we could consider large hills, no wooded areas.
Yeah, I say we just keep continuing.
Do we have to land right now? Yeah, we just.
Yeah, I don't think we need to land yet, right? I mean, like, okay. I mean, I know we have to land eventually, but like, if we don't have to land right now, let's not land next to the
Put
orcs.
distance.
Yeah, like, let's put as much distance as possible.
Okay, so you all tough it out at the at the kind of high altitude, and that might phase you or the kite sails to some degree. Luckily, it's not extended, and eventually you come back down, and you've put massive distance. So now the company of orcs is just this tiny little, dark spot kind of in the horizon. You continue on. You take your rest. You it's a much needed rest, and the kite sails are. You sense that you pushed them there, but you didn't push them so far, and they're glad to recuperate. And you continue the flight throughout the day. And it's quite a cloudy day, so it gets kind of exaggerates the darkness. So it starts to seem to get a little darker a little bit earlier. Do you want to make for the palace now, and be getting there kind of by nightfall?
Will it?
Or do you want to wait till tomorrow?
Will it push our kite sails past the limit, or are they okay to do that?
Yeah, you'd be pushing them again.
Would they be fine though? Like, it's not gonna hurt, because if it's fine, like, I say we just push.
Vapor,
push.
what do you?
Maybe
want
we
to do?
shouldn't.
This is
Yeah.
Vapor. What's
It'd
your
be better
decision?
to arrive in the morning.
I can agree with that.
If you want
I
to
don't
make
know
it,
when he
if
will
you
go
want-
to bed, if he goes to bed at all. Never quite sure on that.
Yeah. Never know with magical beings like that whether they sleep.
Yeah.
Why don't we look for a good spot right now so that we have time before night falls? Clearly.
Okay. Yeah, like,
we'll be
find
able
a
to find
spot.
a
Find
very,
a spot now,
very
yeah.
good defensible spot.
A good hidden spot /
So we
defensive
are
spot.
still traveling in that direction, Esper, but we've sacrificing speed for slowing down to take in. Maybe we'll go off the beaten path a little bit to find a good, camp
a good
spot.
little, a good crevice in the area.
If there's any tests or anything that you want us to make, we can.
You're not noticing anything straight away, which could be good or bad. I mean, it's pretty open, so if there's substantial enemies approaching, they're also going to be out in the open. If you all want to try to figure something else out or apply a survival to go beyond and spend more time, you can do that.
I would like to apply a survival just to simply look for a advantageous land feature, high ground, for example, like a hilltop or a even if it's flat and open land, you know what I'm saying, like a height where we can see out across it. Is that something
you could make a survival check. You could make just a perception if you want, just to scan in all directions. I can see how the
I'll make a perception check and we'll see how it goes.
Can I also do a perception as well? Before I'll
One. Yes.
20.
I rolled really well.
I got a 15, but I think
I said a 31.
yeah. So yeah, like
31.
double me.
Oh my
double me.
goodness.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Well, you way
Plus 13.
exceeded the DC, Walykos.
Yeah.
The elevation has been going down the direction that you've been heading. You're getting closer and closer towards the coastal stretch.
See. Yeah.
There is a higher raise. I'm not going to call it a plateau, but it's definitely a kind of a low hill that raises up higher. It's back. You'll have to backtrack, half an hour or so.
Okay. Why don't we set up camp? We go back. We sleep early. Wake up while it's still a little dark. And we travel through the dark morning time so that we arrive as first light kind of dawns.
Yep.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll like fly.
Worst
when there's
case, we
enough
wake
light
up
to
in the-
see. Yeah.
Worst case, we wake up a couple hours, before we travel, and we're awake during the night, a little bit. We're just adjusting our sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Basically, Esper is all we're saying.
You all think you all consider this to be important, and Vapor, foremost so. The right approach could make a better impression. And it seems, Vapor, you're wanting to treat with your grandfather, demonstrating respect.
Yeah.
Okay. So, between that and knowing that there are orcs in the region, you all backtrack. You determine it's fine. We'll lose an hour. You go to this area of higher elevation. So this wide, long, low arch in the land. A little bit rocky, a little bit scrubby. Has just this kind of not richly soil, right? It has that sort of silty, sandy, gravelly type soil. Kind of hard ground, actually. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And Aygir, I imagine that you would feel a familiar sense of quiet strength and embracing tranquility. Seeing
I don't know.
these
This is a little more coastal
stretches
than where
and
he's
peaks.
from. But yeah.
There's something to the smell of the air out here. It's just different. You all set up your quick makeshift camp, or your kind of minimalist makeshift camp, using what packs you brought with you, and you decide, let's get some rest early. We'll get up early, and we'll make our approach tomorrow and try to make a good impression at the palace. The night passes uneventfully. Here and there you hear, the sound of an animal in the distance. Nothing that would, cause you any trepidation. Some kind of nocturnal hunting lizard that's, smaller than a halfling even. Maybe a night bird of some kind. Insecty things. Nothing that puts you on edge. Nothing that rouses your hackles or your sense of danger. And you awaken early the next morning to find the sunrise actually shining through, with the cloud cover breaking up and scattering, and rosy golden light comes up, peeking over the horizon, over the rolling plains and semi-arid steppe land that is slowly declining and relinquishing itself into a coastal region. And you all prepare yourselves and eat and do what practices, prayers, meditations are your personal persuasions. and again take to the air. It's still quite a morning hour when you come upon the palace. You've traveled for 2.5 hours by air. And there it is. A palace of a tiered architecture going up towards not a point at the top, but certainly a shrinking tiered look. Not a massive palace, but certainly a landmark, something that you would notice and at some distance. It's smaller than the giants' castles that the elves took over in Barnacle, but it is sizable. High walls, manner of rampart, though not overly militaristic in its design. There are columns of smoke that arise around the kind of wide perimeter of the whole palace. There are some nearby structures as well. Small houses, shacks even, some of them. An outpost. There are some markers to the side of a roadway, a traveled road, and you do see, some early merchant folk arriving the palace. There's a Xena-drawn wagon with hobgoblins riding atop it, speaking to someone at the gate affront the grounds of the palace. And these columns of smoke, they rise up and they swirl about, and they meet with these low-hanging clouds that seem to always hover above the Palace of Mistral and smoke. And there is a wind. Now, there's been wind all throughout this trek here, but there is a different wind, a unique wind, something cold and swirling, zephyrs that flit about the whole, within, say, half mile of the palace. And this strikes you, this bracing wind, and the kite sails shiver, and they even squawk and complain at it a bit. There it is.
As they're getting close, Vapor directs his kite sail down, kind of almost away from the palace, but he's aiming towards one of the houses that are on the outstretch of the little settlement.
You head toward one of the outlying houses. It has a garden nearby it. The garden is just as much rock as it is vegetation. Succulent type plants and many rock beds and rock arrangements. You get close, you hear the sound of chimes. Chimes that literally wind chimes, like beautiful melodious wind chimes.
Vapor would land in such a way that would not disturb the gardens, if possible.
Do you go alone, or is the whole party together?
No, that's up to...
Well, as soon as we land... Well, are you... You have to, give us some sort of signal. Do you want
Yeah,
us to
Vapor would signal to follow him down, knowing not to land right at the gates.
Yeah. If you let us know, I would.
Yeah,
I would
sorry,
follow.
that completely slipped my mind. Vapor would have signaled you guys to follow him, because it would not be a good idea to land right at the gate.
That's okay. Then we follow you and we land with you on our kite sails.
Okay.
I would.
It's
like
certainly
to,
occupied. There are people there. They're they're getting their day started. They come out and they're kind of watching and gawking these, this group you all arriving by kite sail. It's kind of a fantastic
Knights. Yeah, we're probably wearing our barnacle, armor and uniforms.
Vapor would start talking to them. I believe, since most of them should be Genasi,
Give me a moment, Vapor. But if you can spare 10 minutes of time, I would like to keep up the telepathic bond in case we are separated.
Let me just tell them that we're not here to cause any harm.
That's
Because
fine.
we did land in there.
I will
guarded.
begin the ritual. Just come back within,
It should
10
take no
minutes.
more than 5.
10 minutes.
So Vapor
Let's
goes
start.
over and first tries primordial just to make sure, just to see, because that is the usual common language spoken in the settlements. and
Sure,
stuff
the people come
here.
out. Now, in MIRRORMOURN, they are humans, but
Yeah.
behind the scenes, some of them, like you said, could be Genasi. They could have some elemental connection here. That is certainly quite common in this place, even if it's a minor thing. And they respond to you, and they speak in that way that you grew up hearing. Blessings to you all who arrive by wind. You are come from Barnacle, but you are not of Barnacle.
I am Vapor. I was born and raised here, but I searched elsewhere for growth.
Then we are honored to meet you, Vapor, grandson of Lord Ezrabat.
I would wish.
Come
that
inside.
we will-
Let us
my
give
companions
you
cannot.
food to eat,
No,
drink
that
to
is-
slake your thirst.
I would ask if we would be allowed to keep our kite sails here. I would be glad to pay for them to stay here if need be.
I and my family will tend your animals, Master Vapor.
Vapor flinches at being called master. He's kind of given up that life, so him being called that is like not what he wants to hear. But he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want to cause issues right now.
Mhm.
I am
There's
thankful
kind of a
to your
similar
family, and I
attitude
will-
with the man that you're speaking to. He also seems to be, he has that sort of bit of nervousness that someone has when they're aware that they're talking to somebody that has power or some connection to power.
Yeah. Vapor comments, I will mention this to your kind deeds to my grandfather when I speak with him.
I thank you for that. It is my pleasure to see that your beasts are tended to.
Okay, double check. I believe I have. Vapor will also give him 3 gold. In payment
Mhm.
for taking care of the kite sails before heading back over to Walykos to see he can complete the ritual.
Your generosity
is
is
hold.
abundant, Master Vapor. Before your party continues on, there is one other comment that he makes that is perhaps noteworthy, and he says, blessings of the living storm upon you and your comrades in your fight against the hordes from the south. Now you're speaking in primordial.
Yeah.
It has this kind of like Aran dialect to it. So he clearly is saying, like, wishing you all the best in your fight against the orcs.
Vapor nods and says, and replies in thanks in kind to him, thanking him for that before going to back over to where the rest of the party's at.
Walykos completes a ritual of telepathic bond, so you all are linked through the divination spell. It seems that the garden keeper, let's call him, and his family will be tending to the kite sails for the time being.
Yeah, Vapor would pass that information along, and then they would travel by foot the rest of the way to the palace, which shouldn't be that far of a walk.
Yep. You walk this road for just a small little stretch, and there are these poles that have banners that they'll whip one way only to later whip back a different way as these cold whirling zephyrs come about the place, and a number of these banners and what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh my gosh.
Flags,
Like
towers.
flags. Oh yeah, yeah. So,
Help me out, Adam.
like
You're
a flag.
You've got this vocab. It's
The
not. I can't want to say minaret.
A mast.
Pin.
Tower,
Minaret.
turret.
No,
What's
he's
that?
talking about the thin
Dome.
flags that usually fly
Banneret?
as well.
Oh,
Banner?
a banner. Yeah.
Pennant.
Well, you got the banner, the flags.
Say that again.
towers.
Pennant, right?
Pennant.
Pennant.
Yeah.
Pennant. There we go.
That's
The
the
pennants.
long, skinny kind. Yeah.
That's the one. Yep, the pennants, they whip this way and that, and many of them are adorned with bells as well. So there's this, constant soft clinging as you walk the roadway, and the Hobgoblin merchants have just been given admittance, and there are a pair of guardsmen, and they have these helms that, their eyes can be seen through these eye holes. Within there are these, long hanging cloth masks that come down and actually cover their face, and they just have this overall draping look to the cloth and the mail that they're wearing. They have these kind of kite shields and spear-tipped pole arms. Foreigners, outsiders.
I am no foreigner. I am Vapor, grandson of Lord Bezerat.
Do you speak in Primordial here?
He's Vapor speaking completely in Primordial.
Okay. The guardsman switches over to Primordial. Is it true what I see before me? Prodigal Vapor returned.
I have returned to speak with my grandfather. I bid
What are they
entry
saying?
into his domain. And Vapor is translating exactly what he is saying through the telepathic bond back, and
Wait.
what he's getting back.
Okay, so so you're talking in primordial. And
Yeah, he's
speaking to
talking.
us
The
in
reason he's
mind.
talking in
Okay.
Primordial is because Primordial
That's
is kind of
actually-
almost a higher language.
It's
'Cause
the mother
it's-
tongue. It's the mother tongue.
It's some
here.
other, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
also the
When
tongue he
in-
grew up on.
when
His,
Rome
his
speak
actual
Roman.
base language is Primordial. He learned Elven after Primordial.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Yeah.
No, this telepathic bond will be very useful then for that purpose, so you don't have to keep repeating back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you also translating what the guards are saying?
Yeah, he's translating somewhat. He's not giving. He's the prodigal son, grandson returning, and all that stuff. He's just he's editing that because again, he's not the most happy about.
And
This is-
Esper, this may be a little bit of a sidestep, but it's been so long since we played. Should we describe what we look like a little bit here, just for?
Okay.
This is an opportunity to kind
Yeah.
of let you know what the NPCs are seeing as well.
Sure.
I got
This
it.
is all-
There we go. There's no.
Please do.
Uh,
Shirtless and all.
Shirtless and all, yeah. Well,
That's
it's
figured.
weird. It's so weird with Nokki, right? Because like we talked about this, like he does actually wear armor, but like it's more.
Well, some
like,
of us have had upgrades.
Yeah.
We've gotten things since last time. It's been so long. This might be
I
a nice
have
little
that
chance
whip.
to show off.
I had that whip that hurt me.
Yes, you do have that cursed
The,
whip. I
ooze
think.
whip. The ooze whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Or it's a flawed whip. It's not cursed.
Yeah.
Only on a nat 1, I think it hurts you. Anyways, Vapor, why don't you start us off and we'll kind of go.
So Vapor's got white hair, kind of messy white hair. He has a cloth covering his right eye, as that eye has been damaged to the point where he can't use it. Over his skin, he has white markings, almost that look like storm bolts, and is dressed in loose-fitting clothing, almost not robe-like, but you would, at first glance, you would see he's definitely a could use magic. And in his hands, he carries a staff that has elemental markings all across it, And if you were to look at the bottom, you would see a small face shard. That whenever he uses that shard, he will smack down onto the ground to activate it. I do believe he has a few scars on his body from the combats they've been in. But other than that, nothing else really would stand out upon him.
His eyes are all one pure color, or am I thinking something else? ASMR?
Yeah, his eye, the one visible eye you can see is a dark blue.
I guess I'm gonna. So yeah, I mean, I did kind of show it as a joke. This is kind of like what Nokki looks like on my screen. The only difference is he wouldn't have like the brass knuckles. He would probably have a bit more clothing on. Like he actually probably wouldn't be fully shirtless. I would say the way I would probably look at it, because he wears scale mail, so I feel like to kind of get that barbarian vibe without just full scale mail, he probably has like pieces like drawn up in places where he might expect to be attacked. He definitely looks more bestial, like he's kind of like a mix between like a Goliath and like a beast almost, because he does have that bestial soul, right, the form of the beast. So he looks very beast-like. He's got like furs on him from like maybe some animals, some wolves that he's slain, right? Like if you look there, right? So he's got like maybe like a little wolf pelt on his body. He's got some markings that like Goliaths would have. Nothing too spectacular on Nokki. Like he's very kind of down to earth. Like he doesn't really like anything that he's wearing that is out of the ordinary, like the pelts and stuff. It's probably something that he did himself, right? Like something that he probably killed himself, right? Like he doesn't really go out and like buy fancy clothing or things like that per se, right?
Maybe instead of wolf, it would be one of those dire hyenas.
Oh yeah, that would, yeah, whatever would fit the world better,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I don't know all the stuff, but yeah. So whatever would fit the world better in that, yeah, it could be like a dire
wild
hyena.
warrior.
Yeah,
sort
something
of
like that.
Sort of a beast man. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Aygir, you wanna?
Sure. Yeah. Aygir is tall for a hobgoblin, not quite as big as a bugbear, but tall and strongly built. And he's clad in head-to-toe armor of a mostly kind of overlapping metal plate lamellar style, with red and yellow bright accent cloths of tanned Xena hide. And his helmet features a mask of brass, which is sort of wrought like a saber-toothed face in shape, owing to his heritage. And various bits of his armor have over time been like re-embossed and retooled by him, and there's some parts made of giant crab chitin from some beasts we slew way back, and all of it fits very well together, including the shield that he can basically call to his arm magically with his powers. Though his sword, which he's adept at using now, it is not quite matched to everything else, because it's a sword we found in the end of the gauntlet that we ran. It's a sort of wounding. And then, if he's not wearing a helmet, he has a fairly tanned, ruddy complexion, fangs, as do most hobgoblins, a sort of a drooping mustache, and his head is entirely shaved except for a long forelock that hangs down. He's very up the steps.
Very. Yeah. I was just trying to think of the real world equivalent, but yeah, it's just
Like a Cossack or a Mongol or a Kipchak.
I always imagined
Hungarian.
Aygir. I always imagined Aygir as like the goblin from The Hobbit. Not how really the Goblin King guy. I'm joking.
Well, I'm glad we were able to spell that, Nick. Walykos,
I've been lied to this whole time.
only by yourself. Walykos is wearing the hide armor of the dragon they slew. Studded leather of a emerald dragon, I believe it was?
Yes, it was Emerald.
Yeah, I was an Emerald Dragon. Yeah, the guy. I forgot his name. The dragon we killed.
Oh,
Might be in my notes.
Start with
Zealous.
a J. Zelix, that's what it was.
Zealots.
He was a lieutenant of Bale Ponder. So he's got this fine armor, probably it was created with the symbol, I imagine, of Barnacle, Drakestone and such, perhaps even, or maybe his own house, not the Storm Tower, but the Storm Tower? Yeah, Mantevale, House Mantevale, thank you. And he has in his hand a staff with an embossed white raven head, like with a beak point on the end. Almost, it's not a spear, but it's like a hooked beak on the end that could definitely do some damage to this fine, almost, supernaturally crafted staff. And one of the most striking things about him is this white cloak of feathers that he wears, that he has had for a long time, since he joined the White Raven. That was kind of his shifting moment. And it's just this down feathers, it almost looks like the feathers are alive. They just kind of shift and they are white naturally, but they can change color to match whatever background he's on. He can just blend in and sink into shadows and things. He also has a belt, a very fine belt on, which magic belt. I don't know what that looks like, Esper. You never.
Wait, was that Adriel's belt?
Maybe Adriel's belt.
You maybe take Adriel's giant strength belt, like
he wasn't using it anymore. I don't know what to tell you.
But it was his, Walykos. It was his. It was waiting
put
for
to
him
better
when he
use
got
now.
out of prison.
Hearty
It's being put to
leather.
better use.
Hearty leather, tooled to
Hearty leather
resemble
belt.
knotwork.
Yes. So he's got this knotted belt, and he's just basically looking sort of. His face is very gaunt. Like he's definitely not had a good time lately, but aside from that, he looks like a knight, hardened veteran almost at this point, with all the experiences he's gone through.
Would his
as he looks out.
I was curious. I've actually never asked this question. Does he look? Is the image behind you? Yeah, is that what his face looks like? And that's like kind of what Walykos is.
That's kind of what I was going for. This
Okay.
was created by AI art, and I really liked it. Thank you, Adam, for that.
Oh yeah, I was messing around with
A lot
that.
of people hate
That was the
you
one
for
that turned
using
out well.
Yeah,
A lot of people are gonna
I
hate you for
was trying to
using
do
AI
one in
art.
Vapor, but I couldn't get a good one.
I wish I could shift it down a little bit so you could get the full thing, but I'll post it on the Discord later or something. Anyways,
Well,
thank you for that
a
intermission.
a band of characters that have some depth, layer, and background to them. And there's the exchange between Vapor and the gate guards, and of course word is sent along to Lord Ezrabat, and you all are admitted inside. You're provided a quarters, maybe called a suite. Yeah, it's sort of a large chamber that you all can take rest in. There's some, opulent plush sleeping mats and polished oval table, some chairs, blankets and cushions as needed for warmth and comfort. Servant comes and brings you all water, food, lights incense in a burner, and so you've got this these bubbling and gently popping chunks of resins and gums coming off of these charcoal discs, putting pungent and even celestial scents into the air, spicy smokes, and you all can bathe and refresh yourselves and relax. It is sometime later when you all are told by the servant that there are visitors, that there are a couple that want to meet you visitors, and you're brought out into a sort of a solar or salon room, circular in shape, cushioned benches for reclining, and even this carpeted circular pit in the floor, kind of a high ceiling, and the pleasant droning of large cylindrical chimes give this under melody throughout the whole conversation. And there are two people of note that are waiting on you. One is a woman, Vapor. This is none other than your mother. A middle-aged woman, human. She has this sort of dark, honey-colored hair with a few strands of gray. And she wears a few layers of a silken garment. Maybe robe would be the way to call it. And she has her hair well brushed, pulled back, and she has sort of scented oils on her that you can smell. Smells of sweets and like a sweet honeysuckle and rain smell. And she also is adorned in a number of feathers. Her earrings, her necklace, even one of her robe isn't the right word. Shawls has these feathered fringes, all sorts of feathers, various avians and kite sail crest and Nicus feathers. And near her is a man. You would know him as well, though you haven't seen him in a while either. He is the warden of the palace, Valen Windblade, a human who is a man-at-arms, well-equipped with fine armor and blade, as well as a amount of storm power at his command.
My son.
Your mother looks at you, her eyes wide and almost glistening with tears.
Vapor doesn't say anything and just moves to embrace her to let her know that he is real. Before speaking to her, I have missed you, Mother.
She embraces you. She kisses you on one cheek, then the other, and then to your forehead.
I have thought about you often. It is so good to see you. Yeah.
I have thought of you, and I did try to send things to you that I thought
Yes,
you might enjoy.
I've received your missives. They always were the bright spot of the day.
How have you been faring? And she kind of like checks you out, kind of pinches your cheeks and your arms.
I am alive, and I am getting better.
I see. And have you kept up with your practices?
Your mother, as people might recall, she has a skill and training at alchemy, and she always, showed you things and kind of reared you, learning about, powders and liquids and salts and things with innate magical potential.
I have been keeping up. Your lessons have come in great help.
Something's different about you. Why this hue?
And she runs her hands over your cheek.
Oh, the green hue. I forgot about the green hue.
Yeah, there's a sort of a sea foamy tealish green undercolor. to your complexion.
Yeah. I was given a potion to keep me alive, and it has affected me. It comes with both boons and curses.
A potion? What manner of potion?
We believe it's called Troll's Blood.
Troll's blood?
And she looks at the other three of you, and then her eyes back to Vapor.
What? I don't understand. What,
Aygir
what
kind
of
of
trouble did you
don't
get
don't
into?
don't look at me, ma'am. I don't know anything about this. I wasn't here when it happened.
Aygir
Noki's
looks
like,
away.
"What, he's not always been like that?"
Aygir
Yeah,
looks away. and
basically,
kind of-
that's basically what Noki's like. Wait, I'm like, I didn't even know.
I think that we can definitely sit and discuss everything that's happened with Vapor. I'm sure he would love to, but we are on a mission of some import. Time may be a factor that we, don't have the luxury of. So if there's some time that we could spend later, Vapor, perhaps you could fill your mother
Yes.
in on everything. that's
Walykos
happened.
is correct. We do need to meet with my grandfather. And when Vapor says that, he does, has that, just that tone where, he doesn't want to do it, but he knows he has to meet with him.
Your voice changes entirely. Mentioning
Yeah.
The warden of the palace, Valen Windblade, he has, allowed, Vapor and his mother the time to reconnect. But with Walykos saying that bit there, he looks right at you, Walykos, right in your eye, and he's got this kind of like beautiful, sweeping, polished helmet on. So it is right down to it for you. Important things
I have
to
not
talk about.
crossed. Yes, I have not crossed half the world and the continent itself to, so we say, exchange pleasantries. Bill Von Der.
It is good of you
needs
to
be
have
discussed.
traveled across half the world, wherever it is that you are from.
Well,
We do
What
need to
is-
speak with my grandfather. I'd rather not have to repeat ourselves several times.
I
Valen.
am, for introduction, I am Sir Walykos, Knight Errant of Duke Drakestone of Barnacle. These are my companions of the Vanguard, if you have heard of us.
Oh. I expected you to say Ter Morgana.
You expected us to say Tel Morgana. You think we are from there? We look like we are from there, huh? I digress.
The man did say half the world over.
We have traveled back and forth to many places, but let's not quibble over words. There's a war. It is coming. It may already be at your gates, and these lands themselves are under attack, I can see, from the orcs. Not a day ago did we not fly over a village completely sacked.
Sorry about that.
We're here for...
The goblin village you speak of?
Yes, a goblin village, but we saw also 500 orcs.
The orcs do
Traveling.
not tread on these grounds. They dare not.
Not yet. But how long will that last when a giant is beating the drums of war, giving them aid to have them attack and fight in the north?
Yes, they are under new leadership. It's not just them anymore. We've seen the results for ourselves. They are heavy.
It's no ordinary giant either. It is a Baal of the Empire, the the giant's veiled-on door.
I see. Well, I would understand why you would be so concerned then. And what of you? And he looks at Nokki, who has said little.
Oh, I feel like Nokki had probably been like just looking around and enjoying the scenery, and when he sees that, he's like, "Oh, I'm Nokki. I recently came into contact with the Vanguard. I'm offering my services to help rid this area and Barnacle of the giants. I think what they're doing is quite terrible. It's nice to meet you. You have a very, very shiny helmet. You probably polish it every day. Very good job."
I am
Well
someone
said,
who
Nokki.
puts a lot of value into doing a good job and doing things in the right way. Would you say that you agree with that?
They kind of look around like, "Hey, I try my best to, yes. I haven't had a polished helmet in a while, though. Perhaps I should start doing that. Does it help in battle?"
You got a funny way about you.
Oh, I'm just myself, just living my life.
I was meaning to
Someone
ask
else-
about that. Is it Hobgoblin work?
Aygir, not the time.
I'm actually curious as well, if you don't mind.
It's
Vapor
never the
looks
time
to
to
his
ask
mom.
you.
Vapor looks to his mom and goes, "Is grandfather in?"
Yes, yes. As always, he is. I'm sure he wants to speak with you. It shouldn't be long now.
Excellent.
Good.
So do you all can we can continue with this if you think there's something important or valuable or interesting with these characters. If not, we can go to the next scene.
I
Yeah,
think
I
we move to the next scene.
Yeah, I don't
So
have
Vapor
any-
reconnects with his mother for a time, and she's very glad to have him back, and worries over him in a motherly sort of way, and of course wants to know. Has a lot of questions, about where he's been and what he's done, and of course is concerned with him talking about having a near brush with death. And then Valen, he kind of goes on mainly with Nokki, saying that there's essentially he has this attitude that there's going to come a time where you're going to have to just wipe the grin off your face and dispense with the fun in the games. Otherwise, you're going to wreck and crash and burn, and that's going to be a big problem. He's very just completely has this total sober, straight, dour way
He's very
about him.
stoic about like his duties and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not straightforward with Aygir's questions. He doesn't seem interested in talking about craftsmanship and where his equipment came from. He just gives these very short responses. It's like I gained this when I achieved my position.
Yeah. It's like
So-
it was given to me. I don't know where it came from.
Telepathically, I would
Not
send,
in a lack of information, just in a he seems to not go down that avenue of conversation. He just kind of cuts it off. So, but you all,
Telepathically.
you have this conversation for a bit, and then a what would we call this? Like a
Page. It would be a
a
page.
page. There we go. Yeah, a page comes summoning you all to the throne room, and you all walk down a polished, opulent corridor that actually has a rising, it's like a ramp, an ascending ramp. And the windows outside, you can see that you're actually getting up and up in elevation. And then there are guards that open a reinforced, banded double door, and you come into this massive space. Particularly, it's massive in a vertical sense. It's like this, you're inside of a great cylinder sort of shape. And the architecture is really just unlike anything you've seen before. Clearly not giant elvish or goblinoid in its formation. And there are some guardsmen here, not a large number of them, but some. The warden of the palace, Valen, he does stay nearby. The page stays there. There is also an elven girl, a young, kind of adolescent, later adolescent aged elven girl. She, excuse me, has very long hair, and she's kind of put it into these different bunches that have this sort of balance of styled and contained and then kind of loose and wild. And she has on kind of this like mystical looking robe, a lot of jewelry, and you don't think they're like a tattooing. You think it's actually some kind of like a makeup or a henna, but has put these sort of like mystic symbols in arranged patterns on her face. Not, again, sort of like her hair. There's a method to it. There's some skill in these minor runes, we might call them. But they have sort of a rawness to them. It's not like some masterwork thing that's painted on her face. Your grandfather, Lord Ezrabat, well, he of course would be the most striking of all the figures. For one, he's large size, so he's much bigger than any of the people here. His skin is sky blue. He wears kind of minimal but very, very richly royal-looking garments, things that kind of flow and do, they reveal that he himself is a strong person. Like, he looks well muscled, almost exaggeratedly so. And he hovers in the air. And if he moves with any amount of speed, his lower body seems to dissolve into mist or cloud. And there's even a sort of cloudiness, a shifting quality to his eyes that hints at some kind of innate elemental power that swirls about inside of him. He is a being not only of flesh, but he is also a being of pure element, an air genie. And he booms, he bellows when you all enter. Come in. Well. And he, just descends through the air without a great amount of effort. Vapor. You've turned green.
Vapor literally sighs aloud.
The first words.
The first words. Of course, those are the first words out of your mouth. Yes, I have turned green. Not
Aygir in the
completely.
background kind of looks aside and coughs. You're welcome.
Grandson.
Through the mental bond, Vapor goes, yes, thank you, Aygir.
Telepathic bond.
Yeah.
Don't let him get to you. Just stay calm and, let it roll off.
Vapor reaches slowly into his side bag and pulls out slowly the bottle of wine and holds it out.
A gift.
A gift.
Grandson, it is good. And he looks down at the wine. It is great to receive you. The page takes the bottle of wine and reads it off, identifies it pretty quickly, and is clearly someone who's practicing these kinds of arts of finery and such. Did you pry that off the body of some dastardly dwarf?
No, unfortunately I did not.
Yes.
Come.
Unfortunate, I suppose. You come at an hour of war. Has war reached has war reached the elven lands in the east?
It has already struck.
There's
We've
much
already-
that we have to speak. Yeah.
There is much. Before, let me introduce my companions. And this is who just spoke is Walykos, a knight errant. We have Aygir, who as well as me are both magus, and our newest companion Nokki, who's come to aid us. And the
So
entire time,
Walykos,
Vapor. I should also mention Vapor is
Magi,
also,
Magus, Aygir, and Nokki, half giant, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh, yes,
of
you
the
know
folk
of
of
my people.
Flumnus.
Yes, oh, it's quite nice. Glad that you've met people of my kind.
The elven woman that I described, she says,
I am Arafine. Your coming is as the salamander bursting forth from the embers and startling the unwary. To the north, the egg bursts under, and a great tidal wave rushes out of it. It is a crimson wave of blood.
Nokki kind of looks at her and then looks at Vapor. Says, I don't understand.
she's
Is this
a
your
seer.
soothsayer?
"A portent, as it would seem.
Well,
Is there
We
any
are here.
deciphering that you all might have for this cryptic phrase?"
I would need to think on it, but it was so quick, it did not impress on me anything in particular.
Do not think. The mind betrays. Listen
Is
to the heart.
Giant homeland
Listen
to
to the body.
north. Is the giant homeland? This is out of character question. Is the giant homeland to the north?
It is.
Okay, then Vapor might have an idea what it is.
Go for it, Vapor.
The giants are invading. That is your tidal wave. They already, and it's Homesgate is what it was. The battle was at. Yes, Homesgate.
Yeah.
They've already struck at Homesgate. We've delayed them by destroying the gate itself, and we had help from. Walykos, who is it that we got aid from the other day? To possibly damage another one of those vessels.
Oh, you're talking about the god that
Yes.
Sarah called upon.
Risa
Giant
Krabba.
crab. Yes.
Lisa
What was
Krabba. Was it Lisa Krabba or Krabba? What was it?
We're
Lisa.
gonna need that spelled at some point
Yes.
because I will not remember.
Yeah. We've already dealt damage to them and delayed them, but they will probably be coming still more. That is your tidal wave of blood. They're
What's
coming
this?
to retake this island and re-enslave everyone on it.
Giants.
And it's also the reason why we're here.
Yes. Well, I am not surprised. What with the history of this land and all, no. They wouldn't let things be just as they fell, no. A grudge-holding, long-lived sort they are.
Especially when Bale Vondor still lives.
Bale Vonder. That is not a name that I've heard in a long time.
He's the reason we're here. We're going
I
after
thought you would be coming, speaking of orcish marauders.
We saw them, but no. Out of character, we believe that Bale Vondor is behind the orcs, correct?
It is known that the orcs are allied with the giants.
Yeah.
The orcs and the
Bale Vondor-
goblinoids have history with the giants. The giants essentially breeding both of those trees of lineages, with the orcs remaining more or less allied or loyal with the giants, and the goblinoids not, rebelling away, breaking away.
Okay. Bale Vondor is behind the orcish raids.
Bale Fonder. Even knowing that he is still alive is a shock and news that does not reach me with any pleasant feelings.
He took quite care to conceal his, survival, and he has been working for the past 100 years or so
Yes.
for his return.
Oh, a sorceress giant, is he not? Wielder of magic.
He is. Yes.
Uh,
Both magic and machinations and artifice he has employed to try to destroy the seat where he was defeated. What is now Barnacle, what was once,
Aygir.
thank you, Ayrberg.
Eyaberg was originally the name of this nation. So this is the we could say this is the west.
The capital.
We're in kind of the west of Mirrormourn, and it's a large island. It is an island nation. Elves renamed it Haven Isle. Originally it was called Eyaberg, and giants dwelt here. Barnacle is the old Eyaberg city. I have a long-seated loathing for the Balin. The fire giants are a haughty and foul-minded race. There
That's
are
what we hoped you would say.
others of giant kind who I have held affinity for, but the fire giants have long been a thorn in my side, a thorn in my memory.
Well, then why don't you aid us then? We know where he's at.
We have a
Because
plan.
this is not much a matter of my opinion, the doings and the goings on. Let me help you to understand. I may have not been as forthright previously when you were younger, Vapor. I might have made a misstep where that is
A misstep
concerned.
is minorly putting it.
You were a little more than a boy, though. Let's not get too overeager.
Telepathically, Vapor, just let him speak. He's actually admitting that he did something wrong, so let him fill the words here.
Coming back for the bond, you get this begrudgingly, alright, fine.
Yeah, grumble. Like there's just a grumbling noise.
Yeah,
You can tear him down after. Let him say his piece. First time he's had a chance to apologize to you. He might need to get this off his chest.
Perhaps better discussed with this drink you have brought. And the wine is poured. It's poured into this big bowl, and they mix it with some kind of water in another wine. They mix it up, and they pour it out, and you all get a goblet, like a chalice, a really richly drinking chalice.
I'm surprised he doesn't carbonate it with little fizzy bubbles because he's a gent.
There's a carbonation spell out there somewhere.
And the genie would know it.
It is good wine. It's been over a century now since the elves made their great push, their final strike
Liberation.
against the giants that led to their victory, warring against the giants residing in what they long called Eyaberg. And as we know, they claimed the land. House Drakestone won this land, prying it from the grips of the giants.
Not alone.
I remember that conflict.
Yes.
Now, there are many things that fade from my memory over long stretches of time, but that is something that I do not soon forget. And I had want to participate, to play a role, to fight against the giants. I consulted with the one who made me the living storm.
Something, yeah.
I had begrudged the fire giants. They deposed of the previous king of the giants, Torvald, Stormborn, and friend of mine. He takes another drink. To you, Torvald. I wanted to strike against these fire giants. The living storm forbade this. He took a even longer term perspective on the conflict. He said the elves and giants were both ancient races with their own destinies. Intervening could disrupt the natural progression of events. He said the war had to play out. I argued against that. Don't think I didn't. Passionately, I argued against it. I got nowhere trying to convince the Living Storm otherwise. And he bound me here to this palace. I tried to strike a compromise. I told him I would only fight against the Balin. Andakar. Andakar, curse your name! It was you who spearheaded the overthrow of Torvald. Yes, well, this discussion turned heated. I was bound here to the Palace of Mistral and Smoke. I cannot leave. Not unless there is something far deeper and greater that is at threat. And wars between peoples is not that.
May I speak?
What is on your mind, then?
This is very interesting, because it sounds as though you would wish to help, but you are prevented from doing so by a powerful divine binding on this.
I cannot leave the palace unless it is a matter of the very primal elements at stake.
Yes, that's
not
what I
the
mean by
rising and
divine.
falling tides of the battles of mortal races.
Yes, that's what I was saying, the divine binding that has been placed upon you. Is there no way that this binding can be undone?
Well, the living storm put it in place. Have you a mind to try to cross him?
We've actually dealt with the living storm before. He is
What do you mean by
aided
dealt
us.
with?
I faced his.
Vapor.
I faced. He's.
Vapor met him.
I've met him. In
Vapor
fact,
spoke to him.
spoke to him, and I went up into his domain, levitated myself up. He summoned an air elemental, and well, I didn't slay it. I fought it to at least half its health, maybe a draw of some sorts, and he granted me a boon for doing that.
I see. You endured a trial, approving, found some measure of favor with the living storm.
Yes.
Well done, grandson. But
I would
do not
return
think
that
you'll be
favor.
able to flit up into the air, find him, and convince him otherwise where this conflict is concerned. He would not hear it from me. He certainly will not hear it from you. Do not waste your breath.
Well,
It's-
to be fair, Vapor is green. Maybe he likes green better than blue.
Ah!
Not the
It is
right
good to have a
time,
fool
Nokki.
in every company. Lightens the mood.
This is true.
It is.
Lord,
Arafine touches her forehead.
Israel.
The great field. Grasses bleed. Green blood stains the toes. No. It cannot be washed away. The storms are not enough.
Now that's when we know.
Maybe I spoke too soon.
Now that's when we know. There is war upon the steppes, yes. If we're talking about lightening the mood, though, you speak of Andikar. He is one of the Bajan who, unlike Vonda, did not survive the taking of Eyaberg into Barnacle.
I have
He's
heard
gone.
as much. Have you proof of this?
Not physically as such,
I thought
but
we found his dead body, yeah.
no, we didn't. We found statues to all of them, and we were
Okay.
able to figure out that there was like an energy only from the Vonder one. The Endor and the Andikar ones were inert, and
The
obviously
final chamber of
yeah.
the gauntlet.
That's
Yeah,
Final
right.
chamber of the
the
gauntlet,
gauntlet, yeah.
had a
Bound to their life force.
yeah, had like a chamber of communing, and there were the three panels, and the one with Andikar and the one with Eldur both were inert,
We beneath the
no longer
crumble of-
functioning.
Yeah, beneath Barnacle, there is a chamber, a trial chamber where Dwarven Thraits were once trained. And in the final chamber, the Bales each had a statue, a magical statue, connected to them to communicate with them. 2 have gone dead. They have no life force left to animate them. The last one, Bale Vonders, still has a spark, a way to connect with him.
That leads credence to what I have heard then, and while I have all but assumed it was true, I am glad to know there is evidence that mounts even more in favor of that truth. Andikar, I spit upon your grave from a distance.
Yet, times are that more Bales have come. Bale Grendelard, Mechfotang, and Zilgathos. They lead a great host of giants and dwarves to attack Barnacle even now. We may have days, we may have weeks, perhaps at most months. They are seeking to fight their way to Barnacle and destroy it and sack it. We've made this journey despite all the needs of Barnacle because we believe that there may be a chance to stop them, or at least prevent a great disaster from befalling both our lands and your lands by cutting the head off the snake that is Bale Vondor, the last of the Bales of this land of Ayrburn.
Well, if you have some sort of hope that I will send out a hurricane from my palace that dashes their ships to splinters, you can perish the thought.
That was not what we had hoped from you. We actually...
We're
well,
hoping
we
you
had
would
hoped,
join us in
we had
against
hoped that.
Daldor.
But barring that, perhaps you have some magics. Vapor was telling us that you have powerful magic that you will use to benefit your people. Perhaps you could lend us some of that magic. And I have a couple suggestions, but I would hear what your thoughts are.
I cannot say I have any great personal desire for or against the Drakestone. For the elves of Terra Morgana, they have never done anything for me. Though the thought at exacting some manner of cold and at length finally realized revenge upon the Balin. Vonder was a close ally of Andikar.
perhaps I can offer something else that might be of interest to you. It sounds like you are a prisoner. Perhaps one might even consider it a slave of the Lord of Storms.
I would not
This
say
free-
as such. This is my lot for this current age.
Perhaps,
So be
but
it.
is it not the nature of the wind to be free, to wish to travel if you would so choose to be, or to exist wherever it blows?
I
around the
trust
land?
that day will come.
Perhaps that day could be sooner. Listen to what I have to offer.
Be careful. The desires and the wants of the mortal ego, the opinion of the singular individual, can be a far more complicated and dangerous road than one can perceive within the means of one's own perceptions.
There is wisdom in these words.
I am bound to a greater force that is greater than
I-
any temporal limitations.
I understand that you see us as such, but perhaps this will convince you.
Vapor
I
speaks
too-
through the telepathic bond. Goes, don't try to get him to change gods. It won't work. He won't change.
No, it's not what I was planning.
I
am-
would be of a mind to
sir.
lend indirect aid, as you said, some manner of magic that you could employ in your fight against
Yes.
the Balin.
Is he intentionally interrupting me, Esper? Because I keep trying to say my thought, and he keeps interjecting.
Yeah, he
every
seems to
Yeah.
just speak whenever he wants and
Yeah, he doesn't
expects
have any
everyone to
concern for
listen
me.
to the Lord of the Palace.
Yeah. Okay. Walykos just takes a deep breath. I am a servant too, but the one I serve is Avasera, daughter of Utsera, the god of the White Raven. Have you heard of her?
I have heard of the White Raven of the Elven Lands.
It was through her daughter's intercession that you were able to deal such a blow to the giants in the last battle. To destroy one of their great ships, she beseeched the god Rizakraba to attack them on our behalf. I would suggest that perhaps it is possible that she might speak to the living storm, and through her diplomacy and her words perhaps lessen the binding on you so that you might have more freedom than you have experienced in 100 years. I make no guarantees. I am but an ephemeral...
I have no qualms with your White Raven and whatever entreatment she deigns to be appropriate. Though I will not go with any sort of expectation that something will change in my circumstance.
I merely offer it because it seems to me as something that you might want. And it might be of value if, assuming I could deliver this through my patron's intercession. She is very interested in protecting the elves, protecting the lives of all in Barnacle and these lands. Not just the elves, the half-giants, I point at Nokki, the people of your lands, I point at Vapor, and Aygir, of course, she has helped him as well in his trials. We are quite a mixed group, as you can see. Myself being the only true elven, well, I say true elven, but my heritage is still mixed a little. But
I have known
Here,
other
we-
companies of heroes and mages, of treasure seekers and adventurers. This is often the case, for where one has weakness, another has strength.
diversity, indeed. Let us perhaps put that to the side. I just wanted to bring up the thought and make sure that you were amenable to the possibility that the living storm might be persuaded to
So be it,
lessen the chains.
Sir Knight Errant.
I will do what I can. What can you offer us on our mission? There is a magic that we sought that you might have access to. A scroll, perhaps, could even be enough for you to have such in your treasury.
Mm-hmm. Very well. If you want a scroll, I will give you a scroll. But what else?
Information.
Speak your
is
minds.
Quite valuable.
All of you.
Yeah. Nokki, Vapor, Aygir, jump in as you feel free. We know what we're going to do. We're going to attack Balvander in his lair. What can aid our success?
Magical items, potions, spells would be off the top of my mind.
Resources.
Resources would be the
magical
first, and then we need. Well, we're also going to need information on. Well.
Perhaps the dragon. Perhaps you might know something. Aygir.
So yeah, Aygir is going
I'll
to
let you
step.
field that one.
He'll step forward for a moment and make a semi-dramatic show of like holding a hand up to show that he's not hostile, slowly drawing his sword and with a flourish like turning it to hold the blade and put the hilt towards Ezrabat.
Ezrabat.
And say, as you see, there's a gem here. I believe there's a dragon who lives not far from here, and we know an enemy of his enemies. We think he may be able to help us in some way, and if you could perhaps give us some information that would let us get in his good graces, such that I can procure whatever boon, that would be enough for me from you. I would not
You speak of
demand you.
Tamrak Larks.
I do, yes.
I do not think he has any good graces.
Well, always first time for everything.
I suppose so. Maybe bring him some of that wine.
Perhaps.
If he is of that sort, perhaps he'll eat you last.
As best I know, he is a cantankerous and hermit-like thing.
Can he be treated with? Will he attack us immediately? Must we prove our strength and threaten his life to get him to listen?
I
would know
would
him
not be
best.
surprised if he listened to you all. Assuming you approach as you have approached here, why, I would actually be surprised if he didn't listen. I would be surprised if he acted like some of, if he ambushed you without provocation, I would be surprised.
So he is the sort to listen before he acts. At
I do
least.
not consider him to be an agent of evil, no.
Okay.
I don't consider him to be a corrupt thing, a fell thing.
We've had dealings with other dragons, specifically one you may know him by Corgain. Does that ring a bell? That name?
Corgain. Never have I heard this name.
That's not his true name. Then I can't remember if he told me his true name, but he is what color dragon? He is a
Quartz, I think.
Crystal.
Quartz.
Crystal.
Yeah. He is a crystal dragon. Does that perhaps spark a memory?
Once the most abundant form of dragon.
Well,
No. I do not know this
no.
one.
Very well. Then we seek this dragon, this topaz dragon, that he might aid us in our fight directly against Cordain. You believe him to be the sort to, or not Cordain, Belvander. Do you believe him the sort to be willing to do so? Or should we prepare something to convince him?
He is a dragon. They lust for treasure.
A gift, then, perhaps.
A
Anything
gift
that you might
would
recommend?
help.
Yeah. Any treasures hidden near here that we might scavenge up? Something personal, perhaps, to him that he might, in particular, value. Not necessarily for its outward value, or perhaps because of it.
Well, as best I know, Tamrak Lox likes to be left well enough alone. He lives in a cave at a weathered seaside inlet. I do not know that it is inhabited by any companions, friends, any sort of correspondent creatures nearby that he keeps in touch with. A solitary thing.
Alright, well,
You have shown me this sword, Aygir the Magus. Were you of a mind to offer this to Tamrak Lox? It seems he might enjoy that.
I was given this gem by the other dragon we have met, and I was of the mind that he would somehow grant me a boon because of it. But no, well, I know not if he deals with the Living Storm, but I had a mind to give him an object more associated with that one, if its power is great enough for a dragon.
going to give him
I have a hammer.
Well, he
I
might-
don't use a hammer, but I have a hammer.
Maybe he will dislike you less that you bear such a weapon.
I had figured such. I've had dreams of him, or of something that I think is him. This gem has given them to me, I think.
Well, so we'll be getting a magic scroll and resources, presumably, from your grandfather. What else can he offer us? Information about the dragon he did? What else? Nokki?
Resources.
Yeah, no, Nokki's like
He's
pretty-
able to help
doesn't-
you determine where to go to speak with Tamrak Lox, where his cave's at.
Perfect.
But he doesn't seem to know a lot about the dragon. The dragon doesn't seem like one that really is a very knowable type of creature. Doesn't seem to.
He's an introvert.
Yeah.
Introvert dragons.
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah,
That
Topaz
said-
Riders know what's up.
That said, Ezrabot did plainly state, let him know if you have a specific type of item that would help
Yeah.
you, each of you personally. Walykos said
Okay.
a scroll that would help, and so that's
The
something.
scroll is for all of us, yeah, but I'm totally willing to take that as my item if I get just one request.
I was not expecting to be told I could get something. Let me think.
Yeah, offering some sort of wish list, could you say, even?
I'm thinking. I'm looking through my inventory to to see what.
Think quickly. You have until this offer's off the table.
Uh,
The wine is gone.
I guess I
Okay,
would. I
here's,
guess,
Quick,
here's
get him
a-
more
an
wine.
easy thing to
yeah,
think.
yeah. I guess.
Offense,
Nokki.
defense.
Defense.
Yeah,
utility,
that's what I was gonna say.
utility.
I was gonna say like Nokki might ask like if I may, I'm not one for scrolls or magic or anything. Nothing against it. I just don't know how to do it. I'm a fighter. I would appreciate some form of better defense, if that's at all possible. I struggle in that department a bit.
I have a couple of ideas. What have you, grandson?
Hold on.
It seems like the shade of color is an issue. Maybe fix that.
The wild magic, it's probably just better to leave it.
Yeah, they fix it instead of turning back to blue. He turns a different color. He turns like purple or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find what I wanted.
Bloodwell vial, perhaps?
Oh, maybe. Wait, can he give us like a wish? Can he just do a wish spell for us?
Just keep your pants on, buddy.
You have listened
ask
to
for
one
wishes.
too many fancy stories.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I read a story once about a genie where they'd give you wishes and
Oh, we've all heard that tedious old
Ev-
tale.
And guess what, Nokki? Every wishing story is a cautionary tale. There's no wishing story that is not a cautionary tale. I guarantee.
you're probably right, but I feel like maybe in the real world it's different. Like maybe genies.
Oh, in the real world, it's different. Yeah, the genie will definitely make sure that your wish doesn't have any repercussions.
I mean, you seem like a stand-up man, sir. You wouldn't betray us or anything. I bet your wishes are the best wishes out there.
if he could.
Yes, a Bloodwell file or Ring of Spell Storage.
Both of those would be
Rings of
exceptional.
spell
Both
storage
would
is
be
really nice.
Would great.
The Bloodwell vial, just so you know, that's a sorcerer-only thing that he attunes to, and it gives him bonuses to his spell DCs, spell attack. But it also lets him once per, when he rolls hit dice to recover hit points while he's carrying it, he can regain
I regained
5 sorcery
five.
points.
Yeah, I was
Once
reading.
per
I
day.
looked it up because I'm like, well, what is this? And that would
It's
actually be useful, though most of my spells are AoE attacks.
For sure, but just having that longevity when you need that, okay, I need 5 sorcery points, we can't take a full long rest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But I also with the spell storage,
And
I could
adding
sp-
to your DC.
yeah, adding those extra spells could definitely be helpful in a spot.
Alternatively, you could go for one of the other shards. Like, you've got the Feywild shard, or no?
Yeah, I have the Feywild shard.
Okay, you have the Feywild.
Okay,
There's the Astral
so-
shard.
I have a pretty good idea of what he's going to provide.
Excellent.
I've kind of listened to what everyone said, and I've got a little thing put together. So hopefully this will be helpful for you all.
Okay.
He speaks with the page, and the page goes away with the warden of the palace for a time, and they come back bearing a coffer. They open it up, and they present to you gifts from Lord Ezrabat. They are as follows. There's a ring that is set in with some beautiful diamonds. There's a ring of spell story. There is a blue sapphire gem, and at first you thought, okay, it's, maybe it's just this valuable gem and we could use it to go hire somebody or purchase something. But no, it's more than that. It is an elemental gem. It can be used to summon an air elemental. Just as an action, you can summon an air elemental.
Yep. And then it destroys the gem. Yeah.
It does destroy the gem, but you get an air elemental
That's
for an
really
hour.
good.
An hour.
Up-
We
up
had
there.
And
Vapor got
no
one that was an earth.
concentration, I think.
No concentration
If
because
you
I
lose
got in our
concentration, the
last.
elemental becomes free-willed, I believe.
But I don't believe the item version has concentration. But I'll
I
double check.
think even item versions of
Oftentimes
concentration
they
spells
do.
require
I
concentration.
don't
yeah.
remember that because
It is
I
an
remember in
action
our
to
last
break
campaign.
the gem, an elemental is summoned as if you had cast Conjure Elemental.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
very
you
it's very
concentrate
hard
up
to
an
get
hour.
past
If
the.
you lose the concentration, the elemental stays, but it becomes free build.
That's what it
It might
is.
resent you. You
Yeah.
never know.
It's very hard to get past concentration because that's like one of the pivotal things of spellcasting in D&D to
Well,
keep it
True.
balanced.
True. Yeah.
Some of the consumable items, like notably a potion of haste, do not have concentration.
Some of
Yeah.
some of them do, yeah. Just
Potion
rare.
of,
They're rare.
Potion of climbing, water breathing.
I mean, I would.
There are 3 scrolls provided in the coffer. They're each 3rd level spells. There is a scroll of gaseous form.
can already cast it.
There is a scroll of cure wounds. There's a 3rd level cure wounds. There's a scroll of elemental weapon.
Mediocre spells at best. I'm sorry, Esper, to say that.
Still free spell slots though.
Yeah.
You do not find my gift to be suitable for you.
No, they are most gracious. Thank you. I was hoping for a very specific scroll, but these are what you offer. I will take them.
Well, I am not some psychic as my oracle here.
If I had been given a
Name
chance
the
to speak,
scroll
perhaps
instead
I
of
could.
hoping in silence.
I had meant to do so, but let's not quibble over that. Let's see. The scroll of, I believe, is summon, instant summon.
I think the scrolls are quite nice. Very good parchment.
Nokki,
Instant
they're not
summons,
for.
yes.
You don't want to write on these ones.
Oh, I'm aware. I don't know how good the spells are, but the parchment is quite. I can comment on that.
There is a rituals magic.
Instant summons.
called
Okay, instant summons. I'm going to need to roll on this one because I know that's an expensive one and a high level.
It is a 6th level spell. It is duration until dispelled.
Hmm.
So it is, and it does need a sapphire worth 1,000 gold. which
Mhm.
is- This is why we came here. We had hoped that he might have something like this.
Maybe we could trade vapor for it. Like we give the grandfather vapor, and then we.
I see that smile on your face. So that's either a hell no or wow, I can't believe he has this.
I rolled 1 under a yes, so I'm trying
Ooh.
to figure out, like, there has to be a no, but there's this potential
Okay.
way.
Okay. And we're all itching for some action. It's not going to happen this session.
Nokki's looking through the scrolls, trying to find his gift.
Nokki, wait.
You could use the elemental gem.
The elemental gem. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
anyone
down
can
for
use
that.
that. All you do is just activate it with an action and break it.
Oh, I
Vapor
thought you meant
Vapor
for-
does have to explain to Nokki, don't just break it right away. Wait until we're with fighting Belvondor, because it will only work for 1 hour, after which it's no longer useful.
No, of course.
it's
I'll be
also-
very. I'll be very. Almost drops it. Very careful with it. Sorry.
Put it in your bag, please.
Yeah, I very carefully put it in my bag.
What were those scrolls again?
I do not have this instant summons scroll that you speak of, but I am aware of what it is. I don't know if I should say this, but I suppose there's no helping it by this point now. I know of one who is of a different mind than mine, who would wager this scroll, though it would be a risk on your part.
Why don't you explain?
As you well observe, I am no being of the dust of the earth. I was born in the great aerial heights. There are realms beyond what you know. There are realms beyond this terrestrial existence. A grander and greater palace than mine, oh, much grander, formed of clouds, drifting out on the far winds. I know of one there who would wager this scroll for the right contestant, for the right opponent, in the right game.
Our need is great, and this scroll could be potentially very useful to us. Otherwise, I would not have asked for it. What is this being? Who is this being?
He is Lord Zephyrion. I might be able to arrange such a game betwixt you and him, or perhaps your party and his own thralls.
How quickly would he be able to accommodate? Because we don't have as much time as we would like. Time is a commodity right now.
Yes. Yes. I see that it is. Well, I make you no promises, but I will send word to him.
Okay.
Give me 3 days. After the third day, we will have our answer. And you would need this time perhaps to prepare yourself for the wages that he delights in are not those for a lowly warrior.
Very well. Let us give you the 3 days. Send your word. We'll see if perhaps this can be arranged. That'll give us time with the Topaz Dragon, dealing with that. How far is his cave from this place?
Well, as the elf walks or as the wind flies?
As the wind flies, we have kite sails that we came on.
Kite sails.
Yes.
Impressive. A beast of House Drakestone and a beast native to this land.
They are noble mounts. They have carried us swiftly across the continent.
Noble they are. Still have to shit like the rest of them, though. By kite sail, would be little more than a day. I
Perfect.
assume you would not be overly taxed in tracking down the cave itself. You seem more than just a mere knight, but a sort of mage scout.
I have my ways, yes.
Clearly you do.
Shall we
So what do you all think?
say then?
Take the gifts that have been given, go and try to find the cave of Tamrak Larks, and then by that point you will have received word, or just maybe a day or so after, you'll have received word of this potential wager with Lord Zephyrion of the Cloud Palace for a scroll of instant summons.
That makes sense. I don't know if we quite have enough time in this session as planned to go do that whole thing. Is there something else we can do around here before we go?
I think we should just head there, and if we
Yeah, I think
end
just
up running
continue
out
to
of
flow
time,
along,
Just-
and then
okay.
we'll just
Sure.
pause
Yeah,
whenever
we'll
we
just-
have to pause.
We'll
Sure.
pause when we
Sure.
have to pause, and we'll pick up. I
Sounds
know that
good.
you want to get it all done at once, but let's do as much as we can.
Sure.
So,
Very well. We will speak then. And Vapor. I still think
Yes.
there is great potential with you yet.
Perhaps when this is all over, I can show you how great I become. And we'll
his
see
magic,
where I can.
his magic has improved vastly in the time I've known him. He now far outstrips the magics that the god granted him. He has even greater magics than that boon that was granted. He stood against the giant army, and his magics were able to sink one of their ships almost entirely. Disabling.
Outstanding.
Walykos did aid greatly as well in that sinking of that vessel. The near sinking of that vessel.
Let us discuss
Well, I do have to
this
chuckle
more.
in thinking that these blows have been dealt against the fire giants.
Well, perhaps
I'm
when
glad
we
to see
return,
that
we'll have it.
in your
Yeah.
traipsing and wandering, you did not stumble and get yourself deposed of, but rather have become something greater.
He is a grandson to be proud of. Let us perhaps share a tale with you on our return over another bottle of wine of how we took the head of Baal Bonner.
I can agree to that. I look forward to it.
All right.
Nokki will finish drinking his thing of wine before leaving, and then
Yeah, that's
Vapor
not a
had
wine
yet
you
to-
want to waste.
Yeah, Vapor had not yet touched his, like a drop of his, and then like looks at it before leaving, gives a salute, like raises a glass to his grandfather, then downs the wine, hands the wine off to a page or a servant. He goes,
Telepathic bond. Your grandfather doesn't seem that bad. I mean, he talks over people, but other than that, he's not that bad.
yeah, I'm
we
actually
caught him
gonna
on a good. We caught him on a good day. Trust me, he could be a
Fair
lot
enough.
worse.
You caught him on a good
Everyone
day.
ha-
You approached it very well, also.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's and Vapor also goes. Also, we came at this. Had we come in a different way, this would have been a lot more. How we put it?
I'm just saying, you've
pain.
had you've had some days too where you're not so nice to be around, shall we say?
maybe he
Yes.
gets it from his grandfather.
Yes,
Mhm.
perhaps.
Ah.
But
You
Vapor,
hear through like the bond is like, oh God, please don't tell me I got that from him.
but Nokki will also say, but your grandfather did seem quite nice. He drank with us, he joked with us, he gave us things. I always appreciate being given free things. So
He was quite generous with his time and his gifts. So
Yes,
Appreciate
I think
shall
I'll have
we,
to rejudge him.
Yeah.
Years
perhaps
have
he's
gone by.
Well,
perhaps he's changed.
it's interesting that you mention this, because you all wrap up this meeting and you are
Yep.
leaving, departing
Yep.
the palace, and I want Vapor to make an insight check.
Oh, the grandfather's actually just like he's gonna chase us down. He's gonna be like, I lied to you.
Ooh, that is a really nice one. I don't think I'm adding anything to it, but I'll double check. Nope, that's just a flat 19.
Okay. You have succeeded.
19. Nice.
So you and your friend, your allies, they comment on that went well. We our opinion of your grandfather's has raised some. He was very generous. These items are going to help. It seems all pretty good, and you're rolling this around in your mind. This has been a very important interaction for you, and a couple things click. He learned, it was discovered that you had this sort of innate chaos magic. He suddenly became very, very interested in that being developed, and in a specific way Like, he seemed to have, as you put it, a almost domineering way about how it was going to have to be done, almost like you were feeling like he wanted to use you. And you're kind of connecting that with the only way he can leave the palace is if the very natural order of things, the primal elements themselves, get disrupted and are at stake. And these things kind of start clicking in your head.
Vapor literally stops in place. It literally stops in place, and through the bond, you just hear this string of curses, all in primordial.
Don't speak
Vapor, I don't know what you're saying in my mind, but can you stop? It's quite loud, and please, I don't understand.
Is everything all right?
Or use my words. Use common.
What's wrong, Vapor?
I have a way to get him to join us in Belvonder's fight. Just what he did.
Okay.
He said the only way he can leave is if the very primordial elements are at risk.
Okay.
Seems quite complicated. Yes.
What am I capable of doing?
Spells.
You can
magic?
shoot fireballs and lightning.
No, I am almost nearly me. My magic is chaotic.
How does that?
If I'm on, just by chance, my magic can affect the primordial elements. He's got to come to reset it.
So, just to be clear, he's banking on your wild magic creating enough chaos that he has to intervene. I mean, with the Feywild shard, you definitely have a much better chance
I will be. Oh, yes.
of invoking.
Now, no one
him
is certain if
and-
he still wants to, if he still has a mind to do this. That was years ago.
Yeah,
he didn't.
No,
I
but
He
talked
didn't
with him, and
explicitly say anything about it.
I
Yeah.
had a pretty direct conversation with him, though, Esper, about leaving and becoming free once again, and he definitely didn't seem disinterested. I'll say that. Anyways, yeah.
So
I
yeah,
will,
there's some uncertainty as to what that could be, but these things click in your mind, Vapor, and you draw a connection, and that, yeah, as we saw, brings on a variety of different responses in you.
Uh-oh.
So, Vapor, question for you: as we travel, and Esper will.
As we travel, do
Yeah.
you try to invoke an extreme amount of chaotic magic to try to bend, break, tear at the very fabric of the natural equilibrium?
Yeah, we all just get all just get launched into the astral sea, and it's just
This
like,
moment.
Vapor, what did you do?
Nokki gets turned into a flump.
Yeah.
Nokki as a flump would be fantastic.
I just imagine the flump
Flunky.
like sprouting claws and just ripping people apart.
Numpy. Okay.
No.
I'm going to stop.
I did have a
I'm going to
question.
cut the head off of this serpent right now. We're not going down that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
well, I do
you
have
all
a question.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was trying to ask Vapor a question. Vapor, do you want to fill that ring with any spells from any of our... Like, we can put spells in there for you. It doesn't have to be your own spells. Aygir can do it, I can do it. And they can be spells
It's a
not
damn
even
good
on your
item.
spell list. Yeah, it's...
Yeah,
Top
I
tier,
know.
for sure.
So out of character, I was thinking of putting at least counter spells into it, because we
Counter
know
spells?
Counterspell's a
Because-
good one to put in there.
because we know Belvondor can cast magic,
It's 5 levels of spell,
5
right?
levels of spells.
so I could
Well,
put
if
one
could put
counter
You could put
spell.
a counter spell and still have 2 more levels of spells.
Or
You
you
could
could put
do
a
that.
level 5 counterspell.
It could also be good
Do
just
that.
to put like a call lightning or something, just to have an extra one. Or
That,
lightning bolt.
or if I may throw
Shield
some
is good.
suggestions.
I'm open to
Shield would rate-
suggestions, guys.
My most powerful magic that I have right now would be Conjure Animals, which is a solid summoning, and because you're
Well-
the one concentrating on it, that's
What-
your animals.
Wait, here's a thing you could do. We could also go back to Barnacle with the Duke and with the other guy.
No,
the
we
mage
can't.
guy.
We don't want to be spending Remember, we're
Yeah,
we're on
going
a time
back is a
crunch. We can't be
long-
going
No,
back.
I'm not saying right now. I just mean like when we meet with them again, it's a possibility. But
By the time the campaign will probably be over. By the
yeah,
time we
probably,
get back to Barnacle.
probably. But yeah, no,
Um,
shield is good, counterspell is good, call lightning's good. The things Walykos
Summon
mentioned are good.
animals. Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
The one thing is
It's
if
a
you
strong
do it
suit.
as well, I do it as well. That is
Yeah.
just.
If
Now
it were
again,
me,
the economy is just going to be insane.
If it
Esper's
were
like
me-
16 more initiatives. No, just kidding.
if it were me, I'd probably say like I'd probably put counterspell and shield in it, but that's just me. I like the versatility of those two spells.
Counterspell and shields, you can't go wrong with them.
Cannot go wrong with a counterspell and 2 shields.
Yeah, I think
Nope.
that's what I might do because I think the counter spell, even if it's just one counter spell, that is one spell we can
Yeah.
remove off the board.
Basically,
from him.
what you're doing with the ring is turning it into a defensive item at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is fine if that's what we think we need. Then
Oh
we
my
can do
gosh,
that.
defensive item. We forgot Nokki's defensive item.
That's why I said
Yeah.
Noki was looking through the
my
stuff.
gosh. Okay,
I was
sorry.
kinda surprised.
It could be
Yeah.
sorry, but
Wait,
it could be cloak
you
of
said
protection.
you said I could. You said
Yeah,
I could.
yeah,
use
yeah.
The
It
things
could be
I
cloak
was
of
just assuming. I was like,
protection.
I guess that's my item.
Yeah, sorry.
Cloak
It could be cloak of
protection's
protection,
good.
or bracers of defense, or
Those
a
are better.
+1 enhancement to your armor.
All right, so I have cloak of protection, and then you said the bracers of defense, or what was
Those
the other
are-
one?
Or a +1 enhancement to your armor.
Ooh.
So, do you wear armor, Nokki, or
I have
do you use
scale
it
mail.
unarmored?
I have scale
Okay,
mail.
so you're.
Yep.
What
I think it'd be
is
better just get
your-
the bracers.
Bracers give
Well,
you +2 if you're using your unarmored defense.
and no
Oh,
shield.
if I'm using. Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Okay, so that would actually. I think upgrading the scale mail would probably be best then.
Okay, so you'll go to
Yes.
+1 scale mail.
and it doesn't
Would it-
require attunement.
Yeah.
True.
Question.
That's awesome.
Question. Would it? Could I instead have the +1 shield, or does it have to be the scale mail?
You could do the shield instead.
I'll do the shield because I could also just like throw that to someone if they need it. It's a little bit more versatile.
Cool.
All right, let me write
All right,
that
so
down.
your shield gets an enhancement to a +1.
Awesome.
I
Thank
imagine
you.
it kind of has this like effect that looks like air is
Or
flowing
actually,
over it.
yeah, since the items were like brought out in a coffer, I don't think they enhance your shield. I think they actually provide a +1 shield.
Hey, so
Yeah.
I get like a
So you've
fancy,
got this like really
Nazi
cool kite shield with this like air
Dig
iconography, like an air patterns on it.
What kind of weapon does he use, by the way?
I use claws.
Use
Oh,
claws.
okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
So,
That's right.
So when I'm not using claws, I use like hand axes and stuff. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe I'll just go with the shield because I'm almost always using my claws. I have a great sword, but like which I would have to drop the shield, but I almost never use it. So also, I
Okay.
think it's
I mean-
cool to have like I have like a genie shield now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, who knows?
Oh, does
Alright,
it?
yeah. I had an Artificer infusion I was going to use, but if you don't use a weapon, then I won't use it on your lack of weapon.
So I suggest that we continue to travel, Esper.
Yes.
Heading towards the cave.
I've got some
And,
cool. I've got some cool
during the-
images. Let me. I think I'll put one
Wait.
in here.
I wish
During the rest
I
time,
wish
we'll take care
Aygir.
of all that.
I wish Aygir could like design like claws for me that like enhance it. That'd be cool.
Oh, that's a pretty cool.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna,
little like
I'm gonna
things that I
show
can
a
put
couple
on my
of quick
hands.
images just to give an idea of this coast
The
that you
landscape.
all are traveling along.
Are you sharing this in Zoom or?
I dropped images in the
Oh, in the
our
Discord.
Discord. Yeah, in our Discord channel. And
The first one looks like the coast of Northern Ireland, and the second one looks like, I forget the name of the river, but a certain river valley in southern China. There's an iconic image of it with those rock pillars.
cool.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
don't
So this
know
is
the
kind
name
of what
either.
we're flying through.
So you all, mount back to onto your kite sails, and continue traveling by air. And it doesn't take very long to actually get to the coast. And the idea is just head west from the Palace of Mistral and Smoke. You'll reach the coast in just an hour or two, and you're going to follow the coast. And it's going to go down, and then it's going to like kind of hook back around. It'll kind of loop back around, and you're going to find this, sea cave that you're going to go in through, and that's Tamrak Larx's lair. And so you have a pretty good idea of how to get there, and you feel pretty confident you're going to find it. And then these images are giving an idea of what it looks like following this coast. And you do see some different coastal drakes, not big drakes, but kind of lighter drakes. And yeah, these different rock formations. There's a lot of this over time, wave and wind eroded look, which causes some very interesting looking formations. And there's this constant, rush of the waves and the sea spray and the surf. And you follow this for a time. You're traveling throughout much of the day. You all take a rest, and we'll say this is the second day now. I mean, the first was just kind of half a day. So getting into the next day, searching along the clouded coast, trying to find the lair of Tamrak Larx. And by the way, if you are to look to the north on this coast, there is a sub-region, or maybe a connected region called the Steam Curtain. And it is actually where, if you remember, outside of Haven Isle, there's what's called the Blessed Waters, just like the coastal waters of Haven Isle. Then there's this massive sort of ring of obsidian, primarily obsidian, sharp mountains that encircle it. And then beyond that is the Sea of Lava. The most narrow point between the Blessed Waters and the Sea of Lava is just north of here. And it has this constant and continual fog. This sort of hot, steamy fog that just constantly hangs there. And ships will sometimes sail through it, but you got to go slow and very carefully. And there's even a settlement nearby, and so that's sort of a something just interesting thing worth noting. I'm sure Vapor has been to it before.
I thought Vapor's grandfather his palace was that settlement.
The Steam Curtain is out at sea.
Well, on the coast, right next to the Steam Curtain.
It's very close. Yeah, it just really just takes you an hour, maybe even less than an hour. I'm approximating things here.
Okay, never mind.
It's just right over there. So that's the north of where you're at now. You've gone south of the Steam Curtain, going along the coastline, and then it's getting to this point now where it's going to hook back around. Kind of does this inlet into a maybe a bay feature. As you are searching, you notice ahead, right, the way that you're traveling toward, there is a great storm brewing with a couple cloud systems that seem to be merging or colliding. Strong wind is coming from that. So that would actually be now to your left-hand side, so westward.
What is it, storm
Sorry,
clouds or something?
eastward. I'm sorry?
Is it a storm cloud?
It looks like actually a couple cloud systems colliding, and there are storms, strong winds. You're starting to get hit by rain. There are rumbles of thunder coming from this storm.
Yeah,
and as
Nokki
you get a little
speaking.
closer, you also hear a voice shout out. The voice shouts from a stone promontory, this jut of stone from the land, and a bolt of lightning licks down and hits wherever that voice is shouting at the promontory.
The
voice.
bolt of lightning goes down towards that, as in. Like,
Yeah, as though
it might-
someone called
yeah.
down this bolt of lightning,
Okay. Huh.
and
Almost like it's guiding us to where it struck.
I would like everyone to make a perception check. This is hearing. This is the voice making out something the voice said.
Passive perception of 23, but I'm happy to make it if you think it
Oh,
requires a.
well,
active
yeah, I'll
check.
probably just give it to Walykos then.
I got
I
a
got a
20.
third.
I rolled a 21 on it.
Okay,
But
so
it's not
yeah,
23
you all
passive,
definitely
Mr.
have it.
Loomis.
I mean, you can't quite make out everything. There's thunder, there's winds. This is a voice resonating from a distance, but the voice is booming. It's not
it's
a
in
natural. Something has amplified the voice.
And it's in common.
Giant is the
Oh, I can
speaking.
speak.
I do speak
I can
that.
speak this.
Yes, giant in the
I think
speaking.
just us two can.
The main thing that you make out is a word. Ojulikia! 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 This, in the giant tongue, is the way to refer to the living storm. And Vapor, you've drawn even a bit closer now, and you are immediately aware that this is a ritual to draw the attention of the living storm.
Wait, does he speak giant though?
Well, I mean, your
Vapor
party is
doesn't, but
communicating with each other.
Oh yeah,
Right,
true,
yeah.
true. Okay.
Telepathic bond. I
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah.
Certainly rolls off the tongue better than Margot Lolo Golo.
We need to investigate.
We need to. Someone is trying to summon the living storm.
And if they're speaking in giant, they might not be.
Is the
allied.
living storm a good
It's
or
quite
bad?
loud.
He's neutral.
Aygir draws out that storm hammer he has from before and just sort of holds it.
Are you referring to the one from Suther Vigil?
Yes.
Okay. The one that it was being crafted and imbued, but never got quite finished.
Exactly.
Never got
Yes.
finished.
Precisely that one. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
should we stop this ritual? Should we go down there?
Walykos
We need to
starts
find out
flying,
who's doing the ritual.
Walykos just starts flying towards it. To
Yeah,
check it
Vapor's
out.
same path
Nokki-
as well.
Nokki
Okay.
follows.
You all continue, and remember there are these different juts of rock formations, and these can obstruct parts of your view. And when you get closer, and maybe even do some different angles to try to get a look at who's down there, you become aware of something else. Comes into your vision. There is a shipwreck as well. And this ship is wrecked, just there, like down below at the bottom, at like the base of this big stony promontory that's jutting out into the, overlooking the waters, the waves. And clearly an elven vessel, clearly a vessel from Barnacle.
About the person
You begin
who's
to
doing
draw closer and closer, close enough that you can see they are orcs. The first thing that clues you in is there are a couple of Skorok riders, and these large, wide, fell, crab-like beasts have riders atop them. The orcs are somewhat spread out across this promontory. There are kind of some different groupings of them. What do you guys do?
I would like to disrupt the ritual. So
As I
if
say,
could
Noki's gonna listen to Walykos and Vapor here because they're the ones who know about the ritual. Like, if they think we should stop it, then Nokki will follow. But
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Vapor is going to bring out Call Thunder or Call Lightning.
All right, so Vapor is in
Definitely
favor of going on the offensive straight away. Everyone else follows suit?
I mean, if we cast
Yeah.
lightning spells, it will look just like the ritual.
we're just
backfire.
friends,
I-
we can pretend
would-
that we're part of it.
Perhaps as soon as we start attacking them, they're going to try to stop us as well.
Right.
How many were there again, Esper?
Do you have a number?
I'm going to give you a rough
Yeah. Approximation.
Because if there's too many, we
they're
might
kind of
might
spread
not
out.
even notice
Maybe a
them.
dozen of them, and you can
That's doable.
right away. You're noticing 2 of the Skoroks as well.
Okay, that's
Other Skoroks?
so.
Yeah,
There's
you're
about
noticing
14.
2 Skoroks and maybe a dozen of the orcs. They
What
seem to be
are
spread out
Skoroks?
in different kind of groupings, and they're doing some different things.
Skorks are those fell crab things.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I want. I thought that's what
So
they
there's
were.
about
Yeah, they are
14
large-sized crabs, and the orcs actually can ride them. They train them.
So
as
there's like
mounts.
14
And they're pretty
overall.
powerful. You don't
It
want to
actually,
get
you
grabbed
know,
up in their claws.
So Nokki would relay this in the telepathy. He would say, perhaps we do some damage up here with Vapor's magic, and then myself and whoever wants to follow goes down and fights them. I would appreciate some backup. I can't do much from up here.
If this storm
I-
persists, we might need to land anyway.
Yeah, I was going to suggest 2 things. One, Esper, are the Skoroks considered animals? Do I know if they're
Mhm.
beasts?
Yes. Yeah, beasts.
Okay.
Oh, speak with animal.
There may be some things that I can do that.
Join our side. They're
Disrupt
bad guys.
I mean, I have ways.
No,
We'll
no,
just put it that
I
way.
agree. Yeah, there's definitely stuff that can be used with it. All right. Well, Nokki will, so he will sort of like wait a little bit before going down. He's gonna let Vapor do some damage first before going down because
Nokki,
there's
before you go, I cast Magic Stone and hand you 3 stones for hurling.
Yeah, you kind of toss them. I catch them in the air.
Well, I just hand them off to you. I toss them
Yeah.
over to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are basically pebbles that you can hurl
Yep.
60 feet, and they'll use.
Yeah, so I can do a
Mine.
little bit of damage before actually getting on the ground. Yeah, or
They
just
use
in
my
general.
spellcasting ability modifier, which is +5 to your proficiency.
Okay.
So should be total +9. I'm guessing at your level.
Yeah.
I think you have a
Yeah.
+4 proficiency.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know where it's at on my sheet.
Yeah, we're all level 9, so you.
Right,
would
yeah, I
have
see.
it.
Yeah, I have +4. Yeah, it'd be +9. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'm going
Esper,
to show a map here.
Also, just a quick thing. We do have. There's almost run to 9. I know a few people I think had to go, so we might want to we can start the combat probably.
We
I could probably, if you guys want to just rush in, I could do a quick round. Or if you want to let's wait and see, we could pause here. I'm
Vapor-
flexible for either one of those.
Vapor has a pretty powerful
Yeah.
first strike because his area.
Yeah, I think the
burst.
plan is we're gonna have Vapor do like a big first strike, and then we're gonna.
I mean,
another.
It lasts for 10 minutes. He can literally
Yeah.
just rain lightning down on them. And if
So
he
it seems
disrupts
like we
the
might-
ritual,
we might
yeah.
not even get into combat, yeah. Or if
Right.
we do,
Well-
it'll be after 10 minutes or so of
we'll
lightning
definitely
striking.
get into
on-
combat. But what effectiveness they can do is probably limited to magic and maybe javelins and things.
Yeah, I mean, one of them had a lightning bolt strike down, so maybe
Yeah.
it could be bad.
I haven't really placed your tokens anywhere specifically yet. Since you're flying, you could
Yeah.
approach from different angles.
Oh, do you have the map up right now?
He
Do you
does.
see it there?
Yeah, I do. I just didn't have my window
Okay.
pulled up. Yeah.
Okay. Is the ritual
So I mean, the
in
way
center?
that you flew in, initially, is coming from this way, which that's actually west, and that's actually
Gotcha.
east over there, just from the way things are flipped.
Makes sense.
I know that's a little
wait-
confusing, but it's a cool map.
Is the central thing with all the little tokens, is that where the ritual's happening, or is that the top?
Up at the top of
With
the
that
promontory is where that stroke of lightning came down, and you heard the booming voice that's calling out to the living storm, and you see overhead these massive clouds swirling together, and really it's Vapor who picks this out first. He clicks, he knows what they're doing. They're trying to get his attention.
Well, I suggest we take that guy out as our primary target. Even if the living storm doesn't go away, because this is just a calling to him, he might stick around and watch. We could then subvert the ritual saying, hey, Living Storm, favor us, look how powerful we are. These
We're better.
orcs-
We're better.
Yeah, we're
Pick
bet-
us. Pick us.
We're better than these orcs, and we'll face your trial, to have him aid us in effing with the orcs. Because you know how he is.
This is the classic god thing. It's like, fight for me. Fight for me.
Zeus will take your trial. Prove we're worthy. Anyways,
So if you're
yeah.
rushing in straight away for a quick blitz,
I'm thinking
yes, which be
a
that.
strafe attack. Yeah, it's
Yep.
just going to be a strafing attack.
Okay, so why don't you all roll initiatives?
Roll initiative.
We'll run a quick round and then we'll pause.
Yep.
Initiative.
Hopefully the round will be quick. I need it to be quick.
Oh wow,
13.
I got
I
a
think we can do it.
17.
I got a 7. Let's type these out.
I have
Walykos,
21.
I feel like we've been rolling like really poorly on initiatives. Like I remember from like last few times.
It's been like months, man. You can't
What did I
can't judge
All
anything.
right, who's got the
by
highest
that.
initiative?
I think Aygir does. So Aygir has a
I have
21.
21, and then Nokki with
And
a 17, then Vapor with a 14, then Walykos with a 7.
Ah, that's too fast. That's too fast.
Okay.
Oh.
Alright, so
21
so-
Aygir,
All right,
17
21
Nokki.
Aygir.
Nokki 17.
What is your dexterity score, Nokki?
oh goodness, 12.
Okay.
Then Vapor had a 14.
Okay, got it.
Walykos had a 7.
Everything is a multiple of 7 or has a 7 in it. It's cool.
I mean, you can just look for math.
Okay.
Got
it.
Everything's a multiple of 1.
Currently, you all are mounted on kite sails. That is giving you a, the kite sail has a flying speed of 60 feet. You take your turn simultaneously. The only action it can use is dash, unless you spend your action to control the mount to do something special. So you can move 120 feet flying, plus still take all your whole turn. And
We're
we
good,
will
yes.
begin with Aygir, who is
So I can move 120 feet and then still do something, because the kite sail is using its action to dash, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I just need to get within 100 feet of, I guess, the guy doing the ritual. And I'll be the
How
first
far is-
initial punch, and then Vapor will hit the recurring one.
You are 165, 170 feet. Yeah.
All right, so
So
you
he needs-
are drawing closer, closing the distance. It's up on this promontory. It's 115 feet above the water,
Okay.
and the orc has these like long, strands of hair with like shamanic bits put in them, whipping in the wind. The clothing that it's wearing is mixed in with hide. It has a spear, and it's like, in this grand gesture, it sees the kite sails coming in just as you.
Okay, so I am within 100 feet of that guy?
100, 120.
100.
100, okay. Yep. All right.
A
Okay.
little bit.
He will raise the storm hammer aloft, and in Goblin, invoke the name if it does anything, Margolologolo, and he will cast Lightning Bolt.
Nice.
Lightning bolt's good.
Tis. Fun spell.
It's also very flavorful right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is lightning bolt 120 feet, or is it only?
No, it's just it's a 100-foot line. You cast a line.
I believe you. I just
Yeah.
always thought it was 120.
Go ahead and roll
Yeah,
up
it's
your damage
100.
dice.
Yeah.
Cool.
It
Yeah.
certainly
Okay.
failed.
Oh wow. Okay. Sorry, I will have to do a little bit of math here.
Not
Well,
the
this is
dreaded
kinda low,
M
actually.
word.
It's because it's kind of low.
We don't play D&D to do math. Come on.
Well, I mean, he failed, so
We
at
use
least you
clicky
got that
clacks, not
We-
math rocks.
Okay. It might be kind of low. That's 25 damage from
going.
that.
Also, Vapor, don't forget you gotta use your inspiration. Whatever it is this round, use it.
What-
Same
what
for
do
you.
you
guys.
Okay.
Just throw that
um,
javelin
you
at full range.
send the lightning bolt onto the shamanic orc at the top of the promontory, and it fails to save miserably. It does, as a reaction, cast out a quick mystic shield to absorb half of that damage. So it takes only 12.
Man,
But that
8d6 and I did 12 damage.
Oh, it's like an absorb elements thing.
Use
clearly,
that
yeah,
feature
clearly,
so
yeah, like
Vapor
absorb
can-
elements. Yeah, it clearly, like even just 12 damage kind of clearly rattles it. So it is actually the orc's turn now. Do you conclude there, Aygir?
Yeah. Yep. That and the invocation of the proper goblin name of Living Storm.
We might have to get back to that. Remember that you're chanting that out. The ritual is certainly not complete, but it is underway, and there's storms brewing. So
And you
do
just
remember
use
that.
lightning to attack him, so you're very on theme.
Yes. The orc here will respond with a spell of its own. Let me check the range on this. Okay.
Just needs 100 feet, unless he's targeting all of us.
I feel like he's gonna cast a fire spell.
Okay. It goes. He does a little repositioning, and is
Yep.
shouting out something and gesturing. And a swirling, really invisible energy strikes upon you and the kite sail. Make a wisdom saving throw, Aygir.
And
Oh,
Vapor
God, don't-
as a
don't
reaction,
fall into the
use
water,
counter
please.
spell.
You cannot, because isn't the range on that 60 or 90 feet?
I think it is 60.
It is
Counter
60.
spell's got a range of 60 feet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
you
I might
You're
not need
really
that.
far away.
Might not need it anyway. For a saving throw. Yeah, I have a 18.
18 is a success.
I've rolled like 3 dice this session, and they've all been 14 or higher. I'm due
Nice.
for a failure now.
Might be saved for half. We don't know what spell this is yet.
The kite sail has failed its save.
Oh no.
There's no immediate.
Yeah.
There's no immediate like visible effect, but the kite sail, just, it jerks.
Could be
Something has happened to the kite sail, but there's no immediate right this second effect.
Well, hopefully that's a concentration spell. We can break his concentration. Whatever it is.
All right, and he's gonna move some.
Yep.
All right.
So he already moved a little bit, but he can finish the rest of his movement.
He will move. He's going to get behind some cover there. All right, so he uses this
Makes
rock
sense.
formation and is able to get,
Total.
at the moment, it's got to be full cover, but we'll see
Yeah,
what
just from
repositioning
our
you guys
position.
do.
Yeah.
Nokki.
Yeah, I'll fly as close as I can, if possible, getting in a position where I could hit the orc. I don't know if I can, but we'll see.
You want the kite sail to land? You want to get off?
Yeah, let's do it. All
right, your kite sail lands.
I don't got.
Boom!
then I'll go
There
up
you are.
Yeah, so I just like I like rush in like.
Two
And I come in-
orc warriors shout
Brave,
at
brave
you.
Nokki.
I just roar back at them, and I'm gonna rage, and then I will. I basically like I fly in, and like as my kite sail is landing, I feel like I just like jump off with the momentum and
Yeah.
just like slash at this guy's face. All right, let me get my. Oh, I gotta find it. It took a while since I've used my abilities.
That boy ain't right.
This is what I live for.
Esper,
this
as
is
soon
gonna
as you
be-
need us to like pause, I know that you have type thing.
All
If
right,
you make
so
this
I
round
got-
fast, it'll work.
Yep, sorry, I'm
we'll
just
go as quickly
trying
as
to
we
find.
can.
All right, I
If-
rolled
yeah,
a
if you
19 to hit.
can
Oh, I'm sorry,
consider
I'm sorry,
what you will be
20,
doing on your turn to make it go fast. That
20
would be
28 to hit.
how much?
28 to hit.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you easily hit him.
I rolled a 19, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
there's
I
no-
also rolled
no
max damage,
chance
so
you could
15
ever.
damage. So just like
There is something I should note. There are strong winds encircling this orc. It's made this area difficult terrain for you, but you had enough speed to get to him
Yeah.
anyways.
I'm not afraid. I would have gone in anyway.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not if I couldn't have made it, but I can make it. So it's 15 damage, by the way. I rolled max.
All right. You claw the orc for 15
And
damage. Yeah. He is concentrating, and he's going to make a con save.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm gonna get multiple
he
attacks.
certainly succeeds.
Okay, I'll
Next
get my
attack.
next attack. Yep. Wait, where is my?
Just
Ah.
keep it going, Nick.
Yep. Sorry, I'm going as fast as I can. It's been a while. I rolled a 25 to hit this time.
Easily.
Which should, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's only 11 damage this time.
Okay.
Only 11.
Only 11.
Yep.
That
I don't-
Barbarian Rage.
Make another
think
con
I-
save. It has.
Oh, that's right. I'm raging.
plus 2 damage. Or plus.
I think I've already got that added in, so I think we're good.
Yeah.
You good?
Actually,
Because I
might
can
be
only use claws when I rage anyway, so I'm pretty sure it's already added in.
I
His
agree. It's
con
probably-
save last was an 8. So he actually loses concentration.
It's the
Very
risk
good.
you
Nokki
take.
coming in.
Very good. All right.
All right.
We move
And I
along
bel-
now to.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I think I get.
Get one extra attack.
Yeah,
from
I
the
get one
claw.
more attack. Yeah, because
Okay.
Because he
because I
has
get.
extra attack.
Yep. Yep.
and then-
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you
So I
can
get
do a
one more
bonus
attack.
action.
No, not
Right.
even a
And you
bonus.
could-
So I
you could
get
action
2 attacks with
surge.
my claws, but then I also
But
have an
make it
extra
quick.
attack.
Make it
Quick,
quick.
quick.
You got everyone else to go.
Yep, 19 to hit. I assume hits, and
Yes.
then 10 damage.
10 more
18?
damage.
Or 10. Okay.
Yep.
You
So I just like kind of run up and just slash.
Oh yeah, you claw and
Yeah.
like rip at his skin and his hide armor, and that actually does a lot of wounding to him.
Nice.
Are you done?
I'm moving.
I'm
moving north
I'm
here.
done. That's all I got.
Okay.
I'm also raging, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I got.
I'm moving.
I'm
to
not
north here.
suggesting you do this at all because we're moving quickly, but don't forget that you have action surge for future.
I do.
combats.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna. Yeah. If I hadn't broken his concentration, I was planning on doing it. Yeah.
This orc is
Okay.
coming up the rocks. They have a sort of natural step, or maybe they've been worked some. It is difficult terrain, but he has this orc bonus action where he can go an extra, like a
60
dash
feet
as a bonus
or
action
something.
toward an
Yeah.
enemy. This orc is clearly not a standard grunt warrior, and he even bears some better equipment, including instead of the like orc axes, he has a sword. And we're gonna go now to Vapor.
Lock him up, Vapor.
Yep. Give me 1 second. Alright, so Vapor needs to get within
Just double dash. You might
Yeah,
as well with
120
the, let the
there.
kite down.
minimum. And will quick is going to be using meta magic just so he can get the call
The
lightning
range.
and bring down the first bolt.
Call lightning.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're
And
quickening
like
call lightning is what I'm
Aygir
hearing?
did, he is going to use Morgogo's name, but in Primordial instead.
Nice.
And
What is the range or the area? On
it's
the call lightning?
120 feet with a
The area? Like 20.
60-foot radius.
Yeah. Because it doesn't move.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's true.
Remember, it's basically just a this is the area I can affect. Yeah.
Yes. 60-foot radius.
I think that's going to cover most of this map. Well, maybe not.
It'll cover most of the upper part.
It should cover most of this rock. Yeah.
30. All right, there it is. So
And since
that's
there's
the
already
area in which you can
another-
call down the
Yep.
lightning. Yep.
Yeah, so I imagine just the storm clouds just darken slightly bit because there's already a storm here. And
Oh
he will
yeah,
bring
you
one.
get extra bonus damage. from
I
that.
get an extra D10. Already have it, and I'm going to drop it so I don't hit Nokki.
Yeah. Please don't
Uh,
don't hit me. Don't hit Nokki.
Are you gonna shoot the two? Because it is a 5-foot burst, I think. So you're gonna hit the two orcs.
No, I'm hitting the shaman.
Okay, so you're just calling it down behind.
Yeah,
the-
and it's going to
the
hitting
rock.
him, not hitting Nokki. And that is 20 points of damage.
He gets a dexterity saving throw, yes?
Mm-hmm. He actually got a 20 on his dex save.
So he takes half damage.
So he'll
I
take
believe.
10.
It's 10.
And that is lightning damage, if that
You
matters.
that lightning stroke that came down hits him, and he shrieks, and this like steam is coming off of him. He is extremely wounded, nearly collapses from that, barely holds himself to his feet.
Awesome.
Noki's a little disappointed that he fell so easily. He's like, I wanted to-
All right. I'm gonna do a thing, and then it's gonna be Walykos. Just 1 second.
Yep. I have a clever
No.
move.
Okay, that's fine.
Thanks for not striking me with electricity, by the way, Vapor. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I'd love to take out the magic user, I see some big enemies coming your way, and I'm going to do my best to...
Yeah, I've got the magic user probably
Yeah,
on.
Vapor was just trying mostly if he could take him out.
I know
if he was able
I
to.
know Aygir goes before him, so Aygir
This
might be able to finish.
Orc riding atop one of the Skoroks, the massive beast scuttles its way up, and it actually has a much easier time of going up. It seems like it's adept at climbing.
Climb speed.
And it comes up the rocks here, has these big, nasty-looking pinchers. They look really bad. And then there's this orc riding atop it that does not bear any of the melee weapons, just has like some of the javelins. I guess you can use javelin melee, but it doesn't have like the great axe or a sword, but has these clawed hands.
Oh, lovely.
And it makes you think of the claw you found at the
Oh,
ruined
yeah.
dung heap.
Okay. Well,
There's another one as well, another orc as well, riding a Skorok down here. It's starting to make its way up, and the orcs are like mustering and getting their gear ready and starting to head up this direction. And it's
Esper?
Walykos's.
yeah. I'm going to just have my kite sail fly towards that top crab. Can you give me how much its dash and whatnot? Stop me when I'm 30 feet away, if I have enough movement.
Oh yeah, you should have
120
plenty of
gets you
movement.
there.
That should be within 30 feet, I believe.
Maybe so. Exactly 30.
Perfect. Esper, I can't see the number, but what is that number that's hidden by the thing,
100.
elevation-wise?
It's 100.
100?
100.
Perfect. Perfect. Walykos lashes out with his staff, and a feathery whip from the tip of it lashes out at the actually the rider on the back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to attack the rider on the back. This is the cantrip.
Thorn Whip.
Yep.
Are you gonna
Excellent.
pull them off?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Nice.
Go ahead and make your attack. I will say that there is a feature for this mount. It has these spiky phalanges that gives half cover to the rider.
That's fine.
Let's do this. You got this, Walykos.
Esper, I don't care if you got half cover. It's not a nat 20, but it is a 27 to hit.
I'm
If you
sure
can
that hits. There's no way
I was gonna say-
it's gonna miss.
If a 27 misses him, then this is a good boss battle that you
Yeah, it's like, oh my god.
It's like
that would be
everyone
insane.
kill
We're
everything.
running.
Use
We're running.
no. Just drop the half damage.
Just
on him.
nuke.
Make-
Just nuke everyone.
that being said, I am going to do damage. I'm going to roll it. Takes piercing damage, 2d6 at this level, plus an extra d6 from my class feature. Actually, yeah. Esper, 10 feet would be enough to pull him over the edge, I think, from there. Right? Okay. Then I'll do the extra d6 damage. Wow. Wow, I rolled 4 damage on 3d6.
That's rough.
That's not a good amount of damage for.
That's
But-
like very.
But then he gets pulled 10 feet closer to me, which pulls him over the edge.
What's the?
And he's gonna fall 100 feet.
Is the total
Like he thinks
damage
he's
for it?
fine, and then
No
he
way.
gets pulled.
Yes, 3d6. I rolled a 1,
I guess
a
you
1,
don't
and
get
a 2.
any modifier onto that. That's true.
There is no modifier on it.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah. Okay.
But I still am okay
He
with
did
that
the thing you
because
wanted
100
to do.
feet.
Yeah.
Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't give him some way to not just completely fall to his death. I would do the same for you guys too. I'll give him a high DC athletics check.
Okay.
Fair.
Well, if I knew that you were going to give him that, then I would have saved the d6 and done a secondary pool. I have a secondary.
If he fails this,
strength
he'll
save.
just completely fall. If he succeeds, he'll be like dangling. So it'll
I
still put him in
understand.
a bad spot either way.
I'm
I
saying I
agree.
have
I-
a secondary pool which can move him 15 more feet.
He has failed completely.
Okay.
Oh!
And the whip just yanks him over the edge, and he's 10 feet out. You know, falling backwards.
He's falling. He does fall into water, but at that distance, it doesn't really make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I'll take off 2d6 because it's water, so roll 8d6 of bludgeoning damage to him.
He's definitely like gonna be out of the fight either way.
All right. Hopefully these dice.
That
roll
was a very
better than I
strong,
just
yeah,
did.
a very strong offense.
Opening
there.
move.
Very strong
Yeah.
opening move. Yes.
Well, I wanted to do it to the other guy, the one who looked like he was really cool, but this guy was closer to the edge, and I didn't want to pull the other one past him. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8d6. All right, fireball damage. Okay, that is much, much better. Okay, I see 6s. That's 20, 28 falling damage.
Nice. The orc
That's okay.
hits the waves with a nasty smack, a terrible blow. He's not killed by that, but he's greatly hurt, and he's down there in the water.
100 feet below the action. I
He's,
don't
out,
really
out of the
care.
fight. I mean, he's out of the fight.
That
yeah.
was very
Unless he-
strong. That was very strong.
Yeah, unless he has a way to get back into the fight, I would think that
He has
he's
spider
not
climb, and he just starts like climbing back.
running up, climbing up the wall. That will be my turn.
Oh, it's actually
guess I could
now
bone-
that it's actually now that orc's turn. The very orc that you just pulled down.
Yeah, I guess I would bonus action Zephyr Strike, put it on myself just so I'd have it.
Zephyr. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting thing. The orc in the water. Gosh, I completely. It's like I completely put the damage on the wrong thing here. I've got it though. Okay. Oof. Yeah, actually, that hurt him. That hurt him quite a bit. I was looking at the wrong stat block. The
Understood.
orc that is in the water now. It will.
Try to swim.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be swimming. I'll just roll an athletics check to see how its swimming is going. We've got pretty strong waves, so I'd say it's moderate, probably moderate DC.
Sure.
We'll go 15. Sounds good. He's not doing good with swimming. Nope, he's not doing good at swimming at all.
Just see him getting sucked under the tide.
He does not go under the water, but he also doesn't get
Yeah.
anywhere. He just kind of like flounders, and he
He
desperately
just got rocked. Yeah.
chants, does a desperate chanting, and chants a spell, and is actually like healing himself with a healing
Okay.
wound spell.
I thought he was gonna chant for the god to save. Like, please save
Well,
me.
he got hurt a lot by what Walykos did.
Yeah, I was
So-
gonna say that was 32 damage, and repositioned him 100 feet away.
Not great, but not terrible. All right, that's that. Now,
Yep.
I was gonna move take the turn of the actual regular grunt orc warriors. Two come there. They flank Nokki, and they swing great axes at
I
you.
have better armor now.
I think one hits and
What,
one
one?
misses.
What?
25 will hit you, and the other ones, I'm not even going to say it because obviously
Yeah,
it's
25 hits. Yeah.
single digits. All right. The great axe strikes you for 10 slashing.
Which is halved because of rage.
Indeed it is.
Good range.
All right.
Yeah,
those
no, I knew they were
orcs
gonna
are
come after me,
pressing
so I was
up
like,
there.
yeah, better rage.
Oh,
All right, those orcs are coming up
Okay.
there. Are there any more? I think that is all for the orcs. Okay, I really should pause things here, but
Yeah,
this will give us
yes.
a cool fight to jump back into when we go to the next episode. So thank you all. It was great to finally get back to MIRRORMOURN. I really enjoyed
Thank
it,
you,
and thanks
Esper.
everyone who
Yeah.
has been watching.
Absolutely. Let us more and more mirrors.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
waiting
yes,
to
well,
see all
there'll-
these like.
There'll be more
these,
talk
like,
of that
really-
to come.
I'm
soon.
waiting to see all the sad mirrors. Like we haven't seen any sad mirrors yet. You know.
End of the campaign, we're gonna go into Bale Vonder's room, and there's just sad mirrors. This is where I draw my strength from, the mourn of the mirrors.
Well,
you know.
actually, the world is called MIRRORMOURN,
It's
and
true.
there is a reason for it, but you're just gonna have to wait and see. All right. Once
Well,
again,
maybe
thank you
we'll
all.
find out.
Good gaming, and we'll talk on Discord. Until next
Sounds
time,
great.
may
Bye,
your
guys.
adventures be many, everyone.
2 weeks, hopefully.